right, guys. How y'all doing? Welcome to launch. Hey, watch it. We're glad you guys came. We're so excited to bring you these three wonderful doctors and just tell you a little bit about what they do and how successful they've become because they practice the way they do. Okay? I'm sorry about that. So my name is Josh Albright. I'm currently a Tri-10 here at Logan. If you haven't recognized or you don't recognize me, it's because I'm actually preceptoring currently in Dr. Hess's office and having a great time with that. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself and about my experience with launch. So for me, I had ambition from the beginning to start my own business. And how many of you guys, before you guys came here, had an idea that you wanted to start your own practice at some point in your career? Raise a hand. Yeah, exactly. So a lot of you have had that ambition. For me, though, it was actually a blind ambition, right? And for me, that means I had the ambition, but I had no idea how to do it, right? And I'm sure there's a few of you out there like that right now. And with that, I started going through school, and as you know, this school can tend to beat you down just like any other school can. And I got to a point a year ago where I was just going to be happy taking the first job that came along when I got out of school. They were probably going to work me too hard, pay me too little. I was going to do way too much and not live in the area I wanted to live in and be paid very little, like I said, and scraping the bottom of the barrel. Now, that doesn't just affect me. I got a wife and kids, too, and student loans to pay off. But I was ready to be relegated to that life. And it was because I had no idea how to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And then came launch for me. A year ago, right around this time, I was able to hear from these docs. So I had heard about how successful these docs were and really didn't know about it, but figured I'd come and check it out. Well, that first night, I was able to hear many stories about how successful they were. And to be honest, I was a little skeptical. If any of you know Dr. Michael, he was running around here talking big beard, claiming he had a better beard than me. I didn't like that. But he and the other docs were talking about how successful that they were and we could be. And with my skepticism, there was a pull there, so I came back the next day. And that next day, I finally found out what I needed to find out about chiropractic and about my goal in life. And that's to be a chiropractor and raise up a healthy community. And these guys allowed me to do that. Okay? So I'm starting on that journey right now. And it all started that day. They showed me how to effectively communicate chiropractic and how to really reach a community that needs it badly. And I got started on that path. And for me, when I first started, there was a lot of things I needed to do right away. And there's things that you guys could be doing right now in school to prepare you for your practice. Some of those things are preparing your paperwork. I started getting my paperwork together, pick out your logo, your name. But most importantly, you guys have one of the greatest resources you could ever use, and that is Launch Club. If you haven't heard of it, but I'm sure most of you have, that club will prepare you better than any other club here on campus to be your own boss and to be successful in practice. Not only that, you could actually, within that, we're now seeing people associate with these the launch processes and be successful right out of the gate. Okay, and that's what I love about this. So with that, I was able to start effectively communicating. Even though I may not always do it right, I still can effectively communicate chiropractic. And I'm learning to do it more and more each day because I'm now working with Dr. Hess and his staff. It makes me so happy that I'm with that office right now. I've had 4 weeks in that office, and I've learned more in those 4 weeks about communication, about dealing with the team, about helping people than I did throughout my whole time here at Logan.
Amen.
And it's been amazing to me, and I hope that you guys get that same experience wherever you're at. Now, my current situation is I'm working on opening my own practice. So in May in Fargo, North Dakota, Ignite Chiropractic is going to be opening that first weekend in May. And for me, it starts with I'm currently in the process of getting my lease negotiated. I got my money starting to get in order, and all of that's coming to fruition because of the stuff I learned here at Launch. So for me, it's a dream come true. And if you guys want your dream practice or your dream job, please listen. Try to understand what these guys are saying, because they have so much knowledge that they want to bestow on you and they want to help you with. So I hope you guys just take that time, listen, and hopefully your lives are changed like mine was. Okay? So next year I want to introduce you to a man who really needs no introduction. His name is John C. Calhoun. If he doesn't know your name, it's because you're try one and he hasn't met you yet. So go ahead, John.
My name's John. I'm a Logan student, just like many of you. Try 10. This was actually my classroom. This has been our classroom. Who in here is try 1? This is your room now, right? You're probably sitting in the seats you sit in all week, right? No. No? Good for you. Good for you. I was the guy who bounced around like every other class. I just couldn't stay in the same seat. This is my seat. There's a few pens and stuff stashed in here. You got pencils on your side, pens on this side. You can stash those under there. But this is a great classroom with good vibes. But by the time I was try 6, man, I didn't know what I wanted to do. They say the world is your oyster. Logan prepares you to do a million different kinds of chiropractic. You can be a sports chiropractor. You can be a nutrition-based chiropractor. You can be a pregnancy-only chiropractor. You can do it all. And if you have no direction, if you haven't narrowed it down, you get out there and you're like, I don't even know where to start. And so that's exactly where I was. I was try 6, and you know, we'd just gotten out of all the academic stuff, getting into the clinic stuff that we couldn't use yet until you get to 7. Who here has tried 2? 3s? 4s? Represent. Michael, represent. All right, 5s? 6? That's where I was. The first time launch came, that's where I was. 7?
All right. Yeah.
Seeing patients, getting your hands on folks, even if it's just people in here. You adjusting anyone in the room? Yeah? When you're in 7, 8, 9, and 10, who's 8, 8, and 9? And then when you're in 10, anybody in 10?
Wow, good.
Yeah. And so yeah, when you're already seeing folks, you have another resource, and that is you can start building your success stories, your own testimonials by your hand. When it gets to 7, that's when it gets cool, right? Is you start to do something to someone to fix them or to help them, to help the body, right? So once you actually get to use what you've been taught in try 7, 8, 9, 10, and then in your successful career, hopefully, that's when it gets real. That's when you're like, this is why I'm here. So think about this. Tonight you're going to hear a lot of docs who may not have graduated from Logan, but they're coming here and they're sharing their wisdom with you, and they're sharing their stories with you. If you got pen and paper, there might be some stored under the tables and stuff, stashed under there. Get out a pen and paper, burn up notes, and you'll hear a lot of little sayings and quotes that'll be worth it in the end. Like, here's one for you right away. Success is in the preparation. Another one is figure out your why in life before you figure out the how. I was so worried about the how. Like, how am I going to graduate and get into practice? I really should have been focusing on the why. Whether it's to help people, you know, we know a guy who works down in Dallas, who practices down in Dallas, and he got into chiropractic to make money. And if that's you, hey, that's how you got in. That's your story. But, you know, figure out a more anchored, firm foundation of why you're here and why it is. Maybe you're meant to be a chiropractor. Maybe God intended for you, Jordan Carroll, to be the best chiropractor you could be. So maybe that's your calling in life. I'm still figuring out my why. I've kind of got it narrowed down, but figure out that before you focus on the figure out the why before the how. I don't know if I said that backwards. I'll go ahead and introduce you to the folks that you're going to hear from tonight. This guy right here, man. I was a launch club leader for the last 4 trimesters. Whenever they first came, me and Mark and a couple other guys, we just like, okay, we got to have launch club because we just do so much with that. And Dr. Sam, with a couple nights a week, with Google Hangouts and different things, we just pick his brain, and he just gives us so much information. We bring it to launch club. Fridays, we still meet on Fridays, right?
Yep.
At the pavilion.
We meet on Wednesdays now.
Meet on Wednesdays?
Yeah. Our club is Friday.
Okay.
Club is Friday for
So there's still clubs in the classroom, indoor club, and then there's outdoor club where you go and we practice. What do you call them? What are they called? What? Impromptus. Yeah. And that's probably, no matter what kind of practice you're going to open up, you practice impromptus with launch. It prepares you for any kind of question somebody could ask you, like, okay, can chiropractic help my, whatever, carpal tunnel? And so you just get used to being in the chiropractic mindset. So launch club, everything else just kind of helps you see the end result and start preparing for it. So you're not just thinking about the next physio test or the next chiropractic clinical reasoning test or whatever test that you have right in front of you. So Dr. Sam is actually in Hendersonville, Tennessee, right outside of Nashville. And he's got a wonderful practice, neurologically based. You graduated life?
Yep.
In what year?
12.
2012. And the main technique in your office is torque release technique. And so if you've ever heard of that, you don't necessarily need to associate launch club with torque release technique club. They're two separate clubs, but launch is great because you can apply it to whatever technique you're going to do. The doc that I'm currently preceptoring with, along with Josh, is Dr. Jeremy Hess. And you graduated life also.
Yep.
And
my wife, Dr. Amanda Hess.
Yep, Dr. Jeremy and Amanda are in Stockbridge, Georgia, on the south side of the city of Atlanta. They have a big team of folks. They've got a lot of square footage, but they've been there for 15 years, right? So they've got a well-established practice. And you do mostly a combination of Gonstead, Thompson, and upper cervical stuff.
Yep, upper cervicals and first 5. Yep. Hands on.
And really, they'll tell you their story, but really he's the godfather, So everybody learned these systems and procedures and everything about how to be very successful in a neurologically based style, mostly from their office at Discover Chiropractic. So they'll get into more of that. Devin, Armand, you say Armand or Armin?
I say Armand. I say Armin, honestly, but she
Okay.
makes sure to say Armand.
So Devin and his fiance in the back, that redhead, gingivitis back there.
Gingivitis?
Ginger. It's when you're not a real redhead, but you want to be.
Let's go with the Ariel Disney princess.
And he looks like a what?
She'd be like, you took me to somewhere where he called me gingivitis.
When you dye your hair red, but you're not true redhead.
No, just don't say that.
So Devin is in Franklin, Tennessee, at Unity Chiropractic, and I've actually had the uniquest and distinct experience to go to each of their offices. And yours is pretty cool because it's the newer of the three of you guys, right? And so you graduated where?
New Zealand.
Yeah.
No, live.
Okay.
It's like, cool.
So he graduated life, and he's right there in Franklin, Tennessee, just outside the Nashville area as well. About to be married when?
April 30th.
April 30th. And you have a birthday coming up Tuesday, yeah?
Yes, I forget.
Facebook stopping pays off. All right. These guys, they're neurologically based docs. They're wonderful, wonderful gentlemen. You'll hear a lot from them. Get your pens out, get your papers out, have a good time. Please talk to us afterwards, me and Josh and anybody else who's in Launch Club here. Do you get something out of Launch Club? Awesome. Well, if anyone's here and wants to talk to any individual student or doc afterwards, just be prepared with questions and anything, and then we'll come back again tomorrow. But let's go ahead and turn it over to you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Big round of applause for
Big shout out to Josh and John for sure.
Yeah, those guys moved across the country, and along with Josh's wife back there and kids down to Georgia to hang out in our office, and they've done a lot of, it's amazing to see you guys just in a couple weeks grow speaking wise. One of the things they do is they are going to different businesses and connecting in the community and introducing themselves and actually able to talk chiropractic to different corporations and businesses and staff meetings and team meetings, and they're doing that on a daily basis in groups of maybe 8 people or 6 people or 80 people, and it's things like that is what Launch is all about. Launch is all about we've been at 11 different chiropractic colleges. Let me see. Next weekend we're at next 2 weekends we're at, actually last weekend we were at Palmer Davenport. We're at Parker coming up, and we're at Palmer, Florida. We're at NWCC, Northwest Chiropractic College. So our goal with launch is to rally students and rally really the butt kickers in chiropractic who want to really follow their sole purpose. So tonight I want you to know if your sole purpose is to be an associate, then that's great, and you should go after that. If your purpose right now is to open your own practice or to buy a franchise, whatever you want to do in chiropractic, we're here to support you. We want you to be the best version of yourself. And what we don't want you to do, what launch is about it, is avoiding that process of just churning through chiropractic school, part 1, part 2, part 3, getting beat down. And, then, this happens and that happens. Before you know it, you're walking across the graduation stage, right? Because we're all going to walk across that stage at some point, or I'm assuming it's a stage at Logan. It's a beautiful college, probably a beautiful stage. And you walk across and you shake hands, or maybe you high five the president of the school, right? The chancellor, what they call him here. And here you have $200,000 in student loan debt. Does anybody have about $200,000? Right? Anybody topping that? Come on now, anybody topping it? Okay, good. Maybe you got some some undergrad debt, whatever it is. What we don't want you to do is walk across that stage and just have this feeling of a pit in your stomach, or really depressed, really not knowing which way to turn, or being backed into a corner and having to get into a situation that isn't your sole purpose. Being forced in a situation because of financial reasons of doing something that maybe you don't totally want to do. Yes, it's still in chiropractic, but it's really not what you wanted to do, what you dreamed of when you first got into chiropractic school, right? So the goal of launch is to help you see that there's preparation involved, to help you see that you can do it, to see that, let you know that people that have gone before you that have the same exact situations, you're all in different situations, there are a lot of similarities with us up here, with many of you, and different situations, but able to, when you graduate here, to really be successful in what you see yourself doing. That's the goal of launch, is to really find those people at the chiropractic colleges and to rally them and raise them up, to make chiropractic and to take it to its rightful place in healthcare. Who thinks chiropractic needs to be raised to its rightful place in healthcare? Right? Sure, we all do, right? We're all here in chiropractic, and if you get outside this bubble, I know when I was in chiropractic college, it was like a bubble, right? It's like we're all here, we talk chiropractic, we adjust each other. Our kids, when they have a fever, they get adjusted. Who here has kids? Anybody has kids? Okay, come be like, what are kids? Some of you are like, what are kids, right? What are kids, right? But you don't have kids. Like my daughter's up there. Listen, raise your hand. She's came with us. My daughter is, really a chiropractic lifestyle, right? Lifestyle kid. And I want to. This is something you should write down. You have a pen tonight. If you don't have a pen or paper, shame on you. But if you do, this is the first thing you should write on your paper tonight. Okay. And we're just going to kind of share a little bit. I'm going to shut up here and we're going to share, and we're going to kind of present too. Don't confuse your chiropractic lifestyle with your chiropractic practice. Don't confuse your chiropractic lifestyle with your chiropractic practice. And I'm going to talk about it a little bit tonight. But basically what that means is that, so here's my chiropractic lifestyle. My daughter's up there, 8 years old. And so just like your kids someday, if you have kids, or if you do choose to have kids, or all of a sudden you get surprised you're pregnant or going to have a kid, right? It's a good situation. I'm not having kids. Hey, I'm having kids. Well, let's go down her ass 2 years later. It's like, we're planning on it, right? We're planning on it. Right? I heard that call from him. It's like, I have 2 wonderful kids. It was perfect. Quite chiropractic lifestyle. What's chiropractic lifestyle? She never had vaccines, right? I mean, she never had any antibiotics. The only reason, and this finds on video, the only reason we go to pediatrician once a year is so it's documented. That's the only reason we go to pediatrician. We go once a year to pediatrician, and he's cool with not getting shots and stuff, and they still got to give you kind of the right act because they're part of the American Academy of Pediatrics, so the nurse still has to ask you all the questions about do you want shots and why are you not getting that kind of thing. But they're cool if you don't want to get it. So and we eat healthy as possible. We do all those things that we all know to do, right? I mean, we don't drink kombucha or anything, right? Who here drinks that stuff? I mean, I know there's some foods near here, right? I know you got to access that stuff. The whole food. But I'm saying, so it's a chiropractic lifestyle. We buy organic soap, or we buy, we spend crazy amount of money on food and all these different things we all do. We exercise, and my wife does, yoga. Like we do all this chiropractic like lifestyle stuff. Y'all track with me, right? I take vitamins. I mean, I take something. I actually take standard process supplements, right? Standard process, they're awesome, right? Come on, standard process, right? Give it a shot, standard process, right? But here's the thing, that's my chiropractic lifestyle, but that's not my chiropractic practice, right? That's not my chiropractic practice. And why is that? Because all those other things I talked about, like vitamins and supplements, right? Yoga and exercise and different nutritional things. And if I had to lose weight, losing weight, all those things, the community has uber access to that stuff. They can find that stuff anywhere, right? You guys know that. I mean, it's all over the place, especially in a higher end community like that Logan is in. It's like all that stuff's everywhere, right? But what's the one thing that the community knows nothing about? Vertebral subluxation complex, right? They know nothing about nerve interference, that it's affecting their children, that it's affecting themselves, it's decreased their longevity, it's affecting their health, right? It's the cause of many of their issues. They know nothing about vertebral subluxation, nerve interference, and the cause of many of their problems. Yeah. That's why I don't bring my chiropractic lifestyle into my practice. Does that mean I don't give health tips now, man? Sure, man. Someone asked about nutrition. We have all kinds of partnerships with a naturopath, with yoga people, with the health herb shop, with all these people that know that if they need, if someone has a 25-year thyroid problem and they come at practice, they need to get adjusted, and a lot of adjustments. But you know what they mean? They need to go to see a naturopath and get some counseling too, and all that kind of stuff, right? But see, there's lots of other people that do that. There's very few people, like that do nutritional counseling. I got a zillion people I refer to them all the time, right? There's tons of MLM. When you're new in practice, one of the big things, when you're new in practice, you'll get hit on by every multi-level marketing company out there. Yeah. I mean, and we still get hit on, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like everybody, all these different products you can sell. But again, what we focus on our practices is we have a laser beam focus on something that makes you unique in your community. Man, I want to be successful. I want to be different in the community. I want to be authentic. I want to be unique. Do chiropractic, and you'll be unique. That's really the secret sauce to what we're going to be talking about tonight. It's like, man, so they're doing these big things, doing this, open up, all these practices, open up, and we do chiropractic. So it doesn't mean we don't talk about nutrition here, like, those tips and everything. Don't get me wrong. It's like, we don't talk about that. But when people come in our office, it's like, it's chiropractic. And that's the secret sauce. One of the secret sauces, one of the unique abilities to stand out in your community. Because if you survey, even from anywhere, if you survey down, you went to St. Louis, you took a 5-mile radius, you surveyed the 50 chiropractors in a 5-mile radius, I can tell you that 49 out of 50 are not unique. They're doing many of the same things themselves, and they're copycatting everything else that all these other wellness, everybody say wellness, wellness providers are doing. Last time I went to CVS, they have CVS out here? CVS is big in the South, right? CVS. When you get your little key code, your little key thing, it's called a CVS wellness card. Wellness is not a chiropractic term anymore. I mean, maybe we could say that chiropractic was big on that 10 years ago. The medical profession has stolen wellness. There's a new pain clinic that opened up actually my old location. We moved location 6 years ago. About 5 years ago, about a year after we moved, guess what? I saw, oh my gosh, chiropractor's moving into my location. It was called Peachtree Wellness Clinic. I said, oh man, that's pretty smart. Chiropractor moving to my old digs, I mean, it's like, that's cool, I get it, right? I drove by a couple times, I'm gonna check. I started finally Googled it. I was like, who is this chiropractor? It's kind of cool, he does. I mean, I'm only like quarter mile of the street. I was like, okay, I got some big riches moving my old place. I Google it's like, wait a second. Start scrolling through. It's not chiropractic. They do injections. It's a pain clinic. It's a neurologically based pain clinic, meaning they give shots and steroid injections. But it was like Peachtree Wellness Clinic. You're like, oh, they're doing all kinds of wellness stuff there. No, they're doing pain injections, burning out nerves. You know what I mean? So don't be fooled and don't fall into that conundrum of confusion. And that's what I want to tell you today. That's what Launch is all about. Go ahead.
Cool. Yeah, that's really good. My name's Dr. Sam, and I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm always grateful that this is my third launch here at Logan, and I've just really enjoyed my time here, and I'm glad that you guys are here. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio originally. I see my man in the Bengals shirt over there. What's up? So real quick story, when I was about 16 years old, I started getting migraine headaches, one time a week. I started having difficulty breathing. I was diagnosed with asthma. My mom was a nurse. My sister-in-law is a nurse practitioner. I have family members who are in the medical field, medical doctors. And so I went to some specialists, got some things checked out, and they gave me a puffer to help me breathe. We tried these things. Health was still kind of getting worse, and we tried supplementation. We tried all these things. Eventually, I went to a chiropractor from a referral, and I started getting adjusted. After 2 months of specific adjustments, I threw away my inhaler. I started breathing fine. I no longer get migraine headaches, and completely changed my life. Completely changed what I wanted to do, why I wanted to do it, and from that point on, I wanted to, at 17 years old, I was like, this is what I need to do. This is what God has me on the earth to do, and this is what I want to do and accomplish. And so, got my degree at University of Cincinnati, went down to Atlanta, went to chiropractic school. I met my wife there in orientation. We dated for about a year and a half, got married 8th quarter. About 9 months, we conceived, and then 9 months later, obviously, we had a baby, and then I started peaking in Dr. Hess's practice at that time. And so from that point on, really, when I was when I was through high school and through undergrad, I actually worked for a chiropractor for over 4 years. And he was a great guy. He helped a lot of people. He helped myself. But he had he was doing a lot of things. And I remember kind of, as I was going through seeing the ins and outs of what that practice was, I started seeing some inconsistencies as far as how things were being charged, how things were being run, on how people would come in for their 12 insurance visits. Then I'd see them a month later in the gym, and they're right back to where they were. And it really started souring my experience on what chiropractic was. But at the same time, it changed my life. So I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to graduate at Life University. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to associate with this other doc. Very comfortable situation. And once I got into chiropractic school, I started meeting people like Dr. Hess and Dr. Michael and some of these other guys that and it completely flipped, just like, Josh and John were sharing, completely flipped me upside down. And I started really understanding what chiropractic was all about. I started understanding the power of chiropractic. And just, 3 years ago, I was in similar seats as yourself as a student. So I would go to events like this. I would hear people like Dr. Hess speak, and I would sit back there, and I would be coming in very cautious, very skeptical. And I would sit there just trying to see if I could kind of like poke holes. And maybe it was just myself being self-conscious on what I currently knew what chiropractic was, but I was just trying to kind of do that. And I feel like probably there's, just if we were being honest with each other, there's probably some people in this room that are kind of looking to potentially do that. I was exactly in that same spot. Okay. But just to kind of throw that out here, the heart of what we're doing here, because if I were sitting right where you were, I would think, what's the deal? Why are these guys here? Why is there pizza here? They're away from their families. I would be thinking all those things. I'm truly and honest. But the whole point of the matter, you guys know the statistics as far as chiropractors. There's like 30,000 chiropractors, they say, in the United States. What's the percentage that fail? I know that number keeps changing, but like 60% or something fail. You guys know those statistics? 62%. Okay. So you know those statistics, and then there's like what a percentage as far as like being close to bankruptcy, all that stuff. So we could 3 months. 3 months for bankruptcy. Yeah. So we could sit here and we could complain about things. We could complain about the insurance, how insurance sucks. We could complain about the current healthcare system, how everybody's over medicated and da-da-da-da-da-da. But if we truly don't do anything about it, if we just sit here and complain, is it going to get better or worse? Worse. It's going to worse. If we don't do anything about it in chiropractic or anything about it in our schools or anybody in the classmates, is chiropractic school going to get better or worse? Worse. So, we have to do something about it. And so that's the heart. That's why Dr. Hess, Dr. Michael, they said, well, let's start doing these launch clubs. Let's start really touring around, going to schools and equipping students to let them know that it can be done. You don't have to have a starvation period. You can open up or you can associate. Doesn't matter the technique, doesn't matter the technology you use, but you can open up and be uber successful. Most importantly, changing people's lives, changing the community from the inside out. And so that's the heart of really what we want to talk about. Man, if you have a pen and paper, please write notes. If you have questions, please approach us afterwards. We are here to hopefully change some mindsets, hopefully change some people's lives in this room. And I feel like it would be a waste of our time if that doesn't happen. So if you have questions, please have them answered. Please ask away. Please write those questions down. Our objective and goal would be tonight and tomorrow for us to be able to equip you with knowledge as well as equip you with some passion that you can do this, whatever that is, whatever that your sole purpose is, that you can do it, you can open up, you can associate, you can change people's lives in the profession that you love. And so that's really, we'll talk a little bit more and more about this as we kind of go on through our own presentations, but I implore you, don't leave this weekend the same person you came in. And what I mean by that is take 1 or 2 or 3 or 1,000 things that are shared tonight. Pick some of these guys, pick their minds. Pick some of these guys that are precepting. Pick their minds so that you can become a better chiropractor, a better doctor, this weekend.
Yeah, awesome, Devin.
So I don't think I've ever told you the story, but so when launch started, there was this. They all came up, and I sat in the back. They did a quick little survey, so I'm gonna do it really quick. Anybody know where they want to practice when they graduate? Okay. Anybody know exactly the town, not just state, but just the exact town? A little less of hands. Anybody think they're gonna make $100,000 first year? If you want to raise your hand, you're like, I know I'm gonna make $100,000 first year. It went down to 3 or 4. Anybody know exactly where you're gonna get money to open your practice? So at this point, it was Michael, Dr. Michael, actually. I was the only guy who had my hand up. And he asked me where I was getting it, and he grilled me in the middle of this launch event. And I was answering, but I was just this cocky guy in the back. And if anyone knows, I'm a cocky guy. I really am. I'm not gonna lie.
Look at that hair. Look at that hair, man.
I grew the hair out just to fill the head before. It was like this military haircut. I know, the vest I didn't wear. I made a promise. I made a promise to someone. Yeah, everyone will notice that. But I actually, every single day, something I did do on campus is I made sure I held myself really high because I was leader of Gonstead Club. It was the biggest organization when I was the president than any other organization in techniques when I was there. And I was big shot. Everybody knew me. Everyone said, hey, it's Doc, it's that. And probably like John. He probably has a big head too. He does actually have a melon-sized head, but so I walked around like I knew everything, and then as I kept going, I started thinking about it. I got some great offers for an associateship, and I kept thinking, and I actually left launch, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna jump in with those guys. I don't know what's going on there. It's not my thing, and real quick, reality set in. And when you go to a bunch of banks trying to get money, guess who laughs in your face? I don't know if anyone knows. My birthday is Tuesday, like they said, but I turned 27, so I graduated at 25. And anybody 22, 23, anybody 24? Anybody going to be graduating at 25? Yeah. So the really crazy thing is when you're 25 years old, how many banks do you think are going to take you seriously? And if you got a business plan, they know how to make a business plan. It came real quick and it hit you. And then next thing you know, I realized I'm all alone. And I actually got a call from Michael Viscarelli one day. I was in my internship. We call it Peak. It sounds cooler. I don't know what it means, honestly. The PEAK. Do you know what it means? I don't know what it means. But our peak internship or preceptorship was I ended up actually going and finding a doc in Tullahoma, Tennessee. And I'm not allowed to say what I did, but I had a negotiation there, and I was excited what I was going to do, and I didn't want her to teach me anything. Again, cocky, big-headed guy. And I did really well, actually, for just a single guy jumping in there. I had my own little office, and I ended up starting to see about 100 a week in about 4 or 5 months. And I was super excited, but then it was time to actually, I think I want to open my own practice. And things got hard. And then I actually got kicked out of my peak internship because the practice liked me more than the doc. And it got really weird. And then I actually noticed all this tension. And it was because I wouldn't sell calm powders. Or there was a colloidal silver. Anybody know about that? You Logan guys probably teach about it, right? I mean, DRX machines, signing them up with traction, all these modalities. I was like, can I just adjust? What I do, it was working. Everyone loved me because I was just adjusting. So they were coming to this practice and they were hearing about I'm terrible at English. So they were hearing about the guy that was just adjusting people, and then, yeah, you're great, you're good to go, and they were getting better. And then there was like the Parkinson's patient, the multiple sclerosis patient, and you know, changed my view of chiropractic. I didn't want to do DRX. I didn't want to sell calm powder. I mean, I used to be a big fat boy. That's why Brooklyn went and dated me in high school. Not a joke, actually. Then, you know, it's always the skinny guy. You know, you guys think about the people who are telling you how to teach nutrition. It's always the skinny guy that's never been fat that's telling you what to eat and what not to eat. It's great. You know, it's really funny. I'm good friends with Dr. Axe. He lives in Franklin. If you guys knew Dr. Axe is, I work out with his wife, and I'm like, Dr. Axe, you've never been fat, man. And he's like, you're right. It's because I eat right. And it's great. He's cool. He's a cool guy. You guys know. And in my practice, everyone who asks about nutrition, I got this little sticky note pad in my back pocket. I just write drax.com and hand it to them. And they love it, man. It's so great. Responsibilities pushed over because I didn't pay attention to nutrition class. I freaking love Papa John's pizza so much. Every Wednesday during Nashville, the show. You guys watch Nashville? You shouldn't, because it's terrible for you. It's terrible for you, and it's a really bad show, so don't watch it. Honestly, I hate that show. But I watch it with her. But you know what was amazing is I jumped in and they called me, and there were so many questions I had, and at the time there was nobody to call. Like, there was nobody that believed in a 25-year-old opening a practice. My dad told me there was no way. Everyone laughed in my face. My colleagues, my friends. Like, when it was time to be a friend, nobody cared. And it was these little strangers over here that didn't, no contract, nothing. Just give me a call anytime. What's going on? Let me know. And that's the family that you want to be a part of. So if you're skeptical, you should probably shut your mouth and just jump on. I mean, that's maybe mean, but if I could smack myself in the face way back when, if I would have peaked with one of these guys, oh my gosh, it would have been awesome. I would have known so much. I probably would have figured out a couple of things in my electronic health records. What about that? Anybody know how to do electronic health records? Oh my gosh, that's hard alone. Like, it was crazy. But yeah, it's like everything's difficult, and you don't have someone to learn it from. So if you are wondering what to do, if you could be given every single thing that if you have a question you hit us with, it would be, you can't get that anywhere else. I talked to other groups and things like that, and nobody would give any answers, and I call, you know, they answer the phone. Like, you get their cell phone, especially Dr. Hess, he's really, he'll answer the phone. You won't know what he says because he talks so fast, but you'll get something out of a few words, and it's gonna be great. But yeah, I mean, I would seriously stop myself if I could go back. I would be so much more prepared than I am now, and I think I'm doing all right. I think I'm doing pretty good. But I think, like, my head is really big. I'm doing really freaking great, honestly. You guys get a chance to put your hand over there. It'll make you happy. I had nothing when I graduated, so it's a lot better. These little vests and divots in my shirts now.
Good, thanks.
Cool.
All right, so yeah, and next, concluding, we're going to start some presentations here. But so about questions tomorrow. So tonight we're going to go to about 9 o'clock. But tomorrow morning is really the highlight of the whole weekend, because tomorrow morning 9 to 11 in this room. We're back in this room, right, guys?
Yeah. So with that, we're down in G105, which is actually down in the radiology lab tomorrow morning. I'll make that announcement again at the end.
So we're in G105. You guys all know where that's at, right? Okay. I think we've been in that room before.
The original launch.
Yeah, you guys have a lot of really nice facilities here too. So tomorrow morning in G105. That's pretty good. I remember that, right? Near the radiology area. We're gonna be going kind of breaking everything down and kind of pulling the roof off the practice essentially, and kind of looking down from a 30,000 foot view and just looking and really dissecting like what it looks like to take a new practice member, a new patient through your office, what it looks like to keep someone there, what it looks like to get someone from the street to your practice, what it looks like, some of the objections and impromptus and common questions that come up. And we're gonna go through that. We're gonna do a lot of question and answer and just really break things down and give examples of some stuff. So tomorrow morning is really awesome and a eye opener. And hopefully, you guys, I know we're competing tonight with the big game, right? I mean, we all know who's gonna win, right, guys? I mean, I don't get it, right? I mean, Cardinals gonna win, so it's like, all right, I mean, we get it. So I think hopefully we'll have a larger crowd here even tomorrow than we do tonight. So let's go and get started.
Cool. So let me, I'm going to introduce Dr. Hess real quick. And how many of you have heard Dr. Hess speak before at a conference or lunch or something like that? Okay, so you guys are in for a real treat. I'll just say that Dr. Jeremy Hess, like you mentioned, he's in a practice down in Atlanta, but it's actually the largest pediatric practice in all the Southeast. He sees a lot of kids. He sees a lot of families. He and his wife, Dr. Amanda, have authored a couple books. They're in the middle of writing a third book, and it's basically talking all about natural health and healing from babies, from kids to pregnant ladies. And he's actually been in practice for close to 15 years. And even though he sees a very high volume, very successful practice, I've either volunteered in his practice or actually did my preceptor there. I've been there kind of serving off and on for about 3 years. And so I know the kind of the ins and outs. I'm fortunate enough to know that. And it's the real deal. He'll let you look in the shelves. He'll let you look at he'll let you look at his bank account. He'll let you, he's very transparent. And I love that about Dr. Hess and Dr. Amanda, because a lot of times it's not the easiest thing to do, being in your own practice, being so transparent, because when you make yourself transparent, you're susceptible to whatever. And so he's always made himself that. There's not one person, in my opinion, there's not one person in chiropractic that is more giving to students specifically than Dr. Hess and his wife, Dr. Amanda. They travel like crazy, and it's on his own dime, traveling, flights, bringing his daughter or being away from his kids. And it's on his own dime but it's to be able to reach more people so that we can elevate chiropractic. And so he's gonna talk and really dive into some things, but make sure that you get your notes out because he's gonna hit some good points here in just a little bit.
Awesome, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. So yes, first question: Who had to pay to be here tonight? Who had to pay here to be at this event tonight? I did. I had to pay to be here tonight. So I'll let you know tonight is not about selling anything. It's not about trying to get you to buy anything. Right? I had to pay. As a matter of fact, I took time away from my my wife and my other son, and drug my daughter with this time. She's old enough to hang out a little bit. But I had to pay here tonight. These docs actually had to pay here tonight. So we're taking time on our schedules to be here. And we do that because, like I said, is that we want to really raise up the next generation of chiropractors, at least those that want to be more prepared, be more successful in the sense. I mean, success means a lot of different things, a lot of different people. But in this setting, it means successful is being more available to more people, so you can use your hands, right, or an instrument, I guess, right. I use my hands in practice, right, to help more people, right? Isn't that what we all got into chiropractic school for? Right? Who got into chiropractic school, right? To help more people, right? I mean, and it's okay if you got in for money. It's okay if you got money. We make a lot of money. We've had our practice has grossed over $1 million for the last 8 years. Grossed over $1 million. Usually about 1.3 million. We're probably on track this year for about 1.35. Or no crunch the numbers. We've grossed as much as $1.6 million. So we've averaged about $1.3, $1.4 million for the last 7 years, right? We see a lot of people. All we do is adjust. We bill for 3 things in our practice. We bill for 3 things. We bill for, or we charge or bill. We do take some insurance, right? Tonight isn't about having a cash practice. Right now, all of us speaking and everybody involved at launch are predominantly cash practices, right? Sometimes you ever go to a seminar and they say, cash practice. You ever go to those kind of seminars, right? And a lot of times they're taught by people that are in practice 25 or 30 years, right? Yeah. Well, what you should ask them is when they opened their practice in the 80s or early 90s, guess what they did? They billed the hell out of insurance when it was really good. They billed the hell out of insurance, excuse my French. That's what they did, man. They did $90, $120, $150 of insurance companies, and they got it. That's not true anymore. You can't do that anymore, right? So don't be fooled. Don't let them pull the wool over your eyes and be fooled,
right? So this is real deal. There still is some insurance out there. Depending on it really honestly depends what state you go to. You know, if you're going to go to Washington State, anybody want to go back to Washington State here? Right? You'd be stupid not to take insurance in Washington State. Be stupid not to take. I mean, we have a lot of once we watch state, insurance is still great. And, you know, the politics are there. You know, the chiropractic and all that. They set it up that, you know, chiropractic's still covered out there pretty well, right? In Georgia, it's gotten pretty. So my point is that, you know, there's no smoke and mirrors in that. You know, if you're a state that does insurance, take insurance. If you're a state that really doesn't do much insurance, well, maybe you're on a network on a lot of stuff. You're only in the network. You know, I know Dr. Michael, who was going to be here tonight, and he couldn't because there was a fatality on the highway and honestly missed his flight. But in Colorado, so he doesn't take much insurance, but he's right near, he's in Golden, so he's right near the Coors Brewery, right? You heard Coors before, right? So there's oodles of employees around him that are in so-and-so insurance plan. Well, he's not stupid. Why not be part of the insurance plan, you know? Be just almost a disservice. So it's what I want you to know is that, you know, we're not a predominantly cash buyers, but we do a lot of cash. My point was we charge or bill for three things to practice, right? Let me get back to the point. We x-rays, right? We do x-rays in practice. We don't necessarily x-ray everybody, but we do take x-rays. Right? Who here is planning on taking x-rays? Right? Okay. It's a tool that a lot of people use. I mean, sometimes there's techniques that don't use it. I mean, I have good friends that part of the launch our program and everything. I mean, they do certain techniques that don't utilize x-rays, so they don't x-ray. That's cool. It's okay. And one I just was talking to the other day, they do network spinal analysis. Ever heard of network spinal analysis? Anybody familiar with network? You know, so it doesn't require x-rays like this. So that's cool. So we bill for x-rays. 1, 2, we bill for like exams, call it which one, exam, assessment, evaluation. You know, like a new patient, we say practice member. So if I say practice member, it means patient. New practice member comes to our office, you know, there's an exam process and, you know, evaluation process, x-rays. So x-rays, examinations, and adjustments. That's all we do, right? So that's how we do our over $1 million practice. And I know Devin's about a year in. So kudos to him. He's a year in, he's seen about 300 visits a week. It's pretty awesome, isn't it? Year in, 300 visits a week. That's amazing, right? The average chiropractic practice right now sees about 78 people a week. And so tomorrow we're going to break down some of the numbers a little specifically about how you can survive or not survive on potentially 78 visits a week and what you have to do to survive and some scenarios and that. So if you're kind of person like you want to crunch the numbers and even if you're not that kind of person, because I'm really not, my wife is that kind of person. Like she crunched all the numbers and everything. She loves that. She was like a math major in undergrad. She likes crunch up. So whether you're not that kind of person or not, on some level, because you're becoming a business person, because you're becoming an entrepreneur, right? Whether you're an associate, going to be an associate, or whether you're going to own your own practice, you still got to learn about crunching numbers and kind of figuring that out a little bit, right? It's important, you know, for your own finances too. So we're going to talk about it more tomorrow morning. So my point is that you can do it in chiropractic just with those three things. That's what we do, right? I can tell you for a fact, I don't know Sam's exact numbers, but I know that he has $1 million practice now. I know that he has $1 million practice because I know enough of what he does and the volume he sees. So here he is. Sam, how many years are you in practice? 3. So 3 years in practice, right? I can tell you that if you took the last 12 months, or definitely the last 6 months, and the next 6 months, so 3 years in practice, $1 million practice. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? I wish I had $1 million practice 3 years in. I didn't. And I sought mentorship and guidance, and I started to dig myself out of the hole that I was in, right? So if you want to get a hold of us tonight, if we're not friends on Facebook, it's Jeremy Menahes. Love to connect with you guys on Facebook. I mean, you know, you can also always private. It's like, you know, after tonight, or you start thinking about things, you have a question or two, private message us. We're on Instagram too. Who's on Instagram here? Anybody? Right? Everybody's on Instagram. At Dr. Hess. Love to follow us. We'll follow you too, and love following chiropractic stuff. All right, so go ahead and flip up the first slide, Mark. All right, so I love this quote by Steve Jobs. Simple can be harder than complex. Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple. But it's worth it in the end because once you get there, you can move mountains. That's really the big idea of what we do in our practices. And so here's what happens. You come to chiropractic school, right? Who came to chiropractic school and that had already seen a chiropractor? It's okay. They said at Life College now, 30% of the people that enter Life University, Life College, which I'm probably is a fairly consistent statistic, 30% of people that enter there, when they like enroll, they've never been into a chiropractor. They've never been adjusted or never been to a chiropractor. So if you're in that classification, that's okay. But how many of you here have been to a chiropractor and been adjusted before? Okay, pretty simple. Who here wasn't? Who here came to Logan and was never a chiropractor? Okay, about 23. That's okay. So somewhere along the line, hopefully, you kind of fell in love with chiropractic. Who's in love with chiropractic? Okay. So let me tell you the different love with chiropractic, right? If you had like Sam fell in love with chiropractic when? Some of you have a similar testimony. It's like you're sick, you had asthma, you had a sports injury, something happened, you started getting adjusted, right? That was me. I had a sports injury, I had some health problems, started getting adjusted, and it was like, wow, chiropractic's it, right? And then I checked out the chiropractic college. I just fell in love with the atmosphere of the health environment, right? How many people like that? And maybe have another example. So somewhere along the line, so what I'm saying is that it was simple. It's like I wasn't good, I was sick, I had asthma, I had a hip injury. That's why I had a hip injury. Then I got adjusted, my asthma away, and I had this weird eye infection for a couple of years. My eye infection away. It was like I had these problems. I got adjusted. I got better. Is that pretty simple? Matter of fact, that's so just so you know, because I'm gonna get a little more complex now. Just so you know, that's what the community's like. The community's pretty simple when it comes to health, right? I have a problem. I take a drug. The symptoms go away. Cool. Drug helped me, right? That's what they're thinking. So then your next love is this. Who remembers giving their first adjustment? Who here is giving their first adjustment? All right. Wasn't it cool when you got that first audible? Come on, man. It was like, yeah. So with me, I was life teaches a lot of upper cervical techniques, right? And I do some upper cervical in the practice. So at Life, though, they had this technique called knee chest. Have you ever seen knee chest adjustment? Right?
My wife. Yeah, my wife.
You're down the floor, you're like this, right? You're like this. Your head's like this, like, oh no, this is gonna hurt, right? If this technique is not done right, it hurts. But if someone knows how to do a proper upper cervical knee chest adjustment, it's like your world has changed, right? It's like the way that, it's one of the techniques before BJ progressed, anything but BJ Palmer Research Clinic. It's one of the things they did between about actually, it's a lot of what they did in the research clinic. They actually progressed from, for a while, BJ was only upper cervical. I guess I don't know if you guys know much history. About 1931, the BJ Palmer Research Clinic opened. Through the 30s, all they did was exclusively knee chest. And then he met Thompson, and Thompson showed him the drop technique. So then they moved actually to the toggle recoil. And that's where that came. And then in the later 50s, 58, 59, before BJ died, he did eventually say that like a drop technique like Thompson on the lower spine was said that was cool, that was okay. My point though is that my first adjustment was on this guy, he practiced in Turkey now. His name was Mustafa. It was like I was like in first quarter, right? I should have been adjusting it, right? I was about to go on a mission trip. I've been on a couple. If you have a little extra money, like an extra $1,500, right? I would highly recommend going on one of those chiropractic mission trips. They're cool, Doesn't matter what technique you do, just get your hands on people. I think it's great. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. There's a lot of them doing out there, and a lot of them are legit. It's a lot of fun. They go to different places and everything. So, clunk, that thing went in, man. I remember that thing, right? It was actually an ASR. So you guys know what ASR is? It was like a right atlas, right? So anyway, it was right atlas, and that thing clunked, man. I was in love with chiropractic. That was first quarter, right? So you guys get in love with chiropractic. It's real simple. It's like, yep. Get on your knees, right? You're doing that. Get on your knees, get adjusted, right? I fell in love with chiropractic. And we all fell in love with chiropractic. And it's simple. Makes sense. All right, well then quarters go on. Oh man, it's like microbiology, chemistry. I don't know, I forget all the classes now. It's like they're changing everything in life. Now they're changing things. Our chiropractic curriculum's changed everything because trying to be more scientific. And anyway, part 1, right? Part 2. Come on now. Part 3, Irene Gold board review. I don't know what board review you guys do out here. It's like part 3.5, PT boards, right? Y'all take PT boards here, right? It's part 4. You know they're coming up part 5. You guys it just came like a week ago. They just passed. You guys know about part 5?
No.
I'm just kidding. That's the most attention I had all night. Mark, that's the most attention I had all night. It's like get back there. It's like this. No part 5. No part 5. You know they thought about it, right? You know they thought about another $1,800, right? But seriously, it's like it gets complex, and then you got professors every quarter, semester try, which is here. Every try, it's like this professor's telling you this. This one's telling you this is the only way to practice. This one's telling you got to tape. This one's telling you got to do this. This one's telling you there's no way you can do that. This one's telling you you have to do it this way because that's the way they did it for 1.5 years in practice. Or this is the one they did it 32 years ago, right? And you got a bill like this because that's the way they did it in the Mercedes 80s, right? That's me, right? And they like talk about this and that. And there's nothing wrong with coming to a lecture with some. And I'll admit it. The launch tour is all about bringing relevant young bucks, like a year out, 3 years out. I mean, I've been in 15 years, and you know, the only reason I'm relevant to some point is because we're opening practices with these docs every week, right? New practices are opening every week, and you know, so I'm still in it somewhat. But 15 years in, it becomes a little irrelevant to say, "Hey, doc, how do you open a practice?" 15 years, things have changed a lot. So when someone comes in here and it's been 25 or 30, then listen, soak up the wisdom. There's a lot there, chiropractically, technique, stories. But be careful about taking advice on how to open a practice. What you should do in 6 months or a year and a half when you go out on your own, right? You have to be careful about that. So I want to be really relevant about what's going on in your community. So things get complex. By the time you graduate, guess what? Your head's spinning. You don't know what to do. Or by the time you think about graduating. I must admit, when I graduated, it was one of the I remember back, it was like this elated feeling. It was like depressed feeling. I was depressed. I knew enough that I had to get serious now. It was like rubber meets the road, right? I grew up in a family business. I knew enough that there's something called business out there, right? I see my parents go through good times and bad times in business. And I knew that I wanted to open a practice. I just knew enough that like things just got real. Student loan checks aren't coming anymore. And I got 6 months. So guess what I did? Me and 2 buddies, we backpacked. We bought tickets from Atlanta, London. And we backpacked for 5.5 months. You know, 6 month wait period, right? I mean, serious. We traveled 20. It was great. It's a great time of life. One of the great times of life. We traveled 27 countries. 5.5 month backpack. It was great, man. You know, it was like 2 other chiropractors. I've lost touch with those guys because I don't like that crap too much. But we had a great time. Went from Europe. I started in London and then Singapore, the Middle East. It was amazing, right? And I got back, and that flight back to Atlanta. You know, 5.5 months later, 6 months, loans are, you know, you gotta start talking to loan people now. They're like, hey, what's up? I'm like, I'm still in deferment. I'm still gotta figure this thing out. And then I had nothing. I went and bought a car. I started driving around. It's like, man, why am I practice? I was driving. I'm serious. At this point, my wife, we had decided that, because for me, I was like, we were dating when she was here in Atlanta, and I was overseas. So it's like, by the time I got to Kathmandu, she had basically told me that in order for this to work out, you got to come back to Atlanta. Because I was like, I'm going to practice. You know, I was like, I'm going to practice in Singapore. I'm going to practice, you know, we'll see each other 2-3 times a year, right, guys? We'll see each other 2-3 times a year, right? Perfect, right? And the ladies are like, I don't get it. 2-3 times a year. So anyway, I loved her, so she put her foot down and ended back in Atlanta. So I'm driving around Atlanta. So where am I going to practice? I don't want to tell you the whole story, but I fell into this place, and it was like I met this lady after about 2 weeks of driving around Atlanta, and there was a place that this chiropractor just moved out of, and I went in there, and there's extra. Anyway, it was just all it was a totally God thing, and we started the practice, and it went pretty well. I was stuck at 150 visits a week. About 6 months, 8 months in, we got to 150 visits a week, and I was stuck at 150 visits a week for 5 years. It's not a bad place to be stuck at. Not a bad place to be stuck at, especially 10, 15 years ago when insurance still paid a little bit, right? You know, you make a decent living. I got stuck. You know, and then she graduated about 4 years after I did, and then within 3 months, guess what she got to? 150 visits. So now we had like 250, 300 visits a week practically, both of us. Not a bad place, right? But I knew in here, because I had heard people and I talked to people. I'd fast shadow practices. I knew that I could do more with these hands. I just knew I could. I can tell you, it's like, man, 300 visits a week, that seems busy. But when you're trained, you guys see these guys, right? They've been in practice. It's like, right now, currently we do about 900 visits a week. 900 visits a week. Now we've done 1,500 for years, right? And because we travel so much and everything, and my schedule, we really, our practice is coasting. We coast to 900 visits a week. It's like this. Be serious. Be serious. Like, I'm just going to So I know you're like thinking like, so at 50 visits a day, I would kill myself. Right? I would kill myself. It's like, I don't know what to do with myself. I mean, I really would. I really would. I'd be like depressed. I'd be depressed, really. Because when you start to adjust people and serve people, there's like, I'll go, it's like you have a bad day. Really, the best pick up you could ever get, it's kind of like I had kind of a rough day. It's like, man, morning, you know, I don't know. And then you go in there, you start adjusting people, right? And within the first few adjustments, it's like, man, you're on top of the world. Sam knows what I'm talking about. Sam knows it's like this energy. It's like, man, wow. It's like great. It's like, yeah, you know, it can the greatest, is it antidepressant? I don't know, it's like, or upper, greatest upper is adjusting people. Because when you adjust people and you know you spend a minute or two with them and they love on you and it's a chiropractic adjustment, it's an exchange. The exchange is removing interference, allowing their life to be better. And that's a good exchange. I can tell you there's a lot of value in that exchange too. There's a lot of value in that. So anyway, the point is this. When you graduate chiropractic school, it's complex, you're confused, and you know which way to turn. And I'm telling you that you got to get back to making it simple again. I didn't say don't pass part 1, 2, 3, 4 in PT, and maybe 5. I didn't say don't pass that stuff. What I said is pass that stuff, but don't forget that you fell in love with chiropractic because it's simple. Guess what your community is going to fall in love with? Chiropractic because it's simple. They get it. You come in, you educate them, and here's what I hear all the time. How comes no one ever told me this before? Matter of fact, like the real analytical people, you know, it's like it's making way too much sense. It's like, you know, I mean, really, people always say it's like, it just makes too much sense. You know, it's funny, yesterday, this kind of stuff you hear. It's like, we get all complex, it's like, oh, brachial plexus, all that stuff. I mean, I don't know what that thing's anymore. So this lady comes in, she's like this, just a talk, you know, and they go to my church. I know they go to my church. I go to a pretty large church, and they're like, oh, you go to church? I'm like, oh, cool. So I got to be extra sweet to them, right? She's just talking like this. Matter of fact, we had a large doctor support on Tuesday night. A doctor support is where basically, now there's exceptions to this, but basically 90% plus of the people, they enter the practice, you know, they get like x-rays and exam, that kind of stuff. And their next visit is the doctor support. Doctor support is we huddle everybody in the room, right? And we basically sell them on chiropractic. Who here thought they're gonna be a salesperson to graduate? It's like salesperson. Oh, I say sell. And the reason I say sell is we don't really sell them, we educate them, right? But I got news for you. They're already being sold. It's like, I don't want to sell. Guess who's selling them already? Who's already selling them? The pharmaceutical companies are selling them. Right now, they watch the Cardinals game tonight. Guess who's on there selling? And guarantee, man, there's a lot of big pharmaceutical ads on the game tonight. Guarantee it. So don't be fooled in thinking that they're not being sold. Now, you're not going to come across salesy, but when you're educating them, you're basically moving them from that side, outside in, right, to our side. What's our side? Inside out, right? You're basically transitioning them, right? Every once in a while, someone says, this happens like once a year for some prick. He's like, yeah, you know, I just kind of thought it was more like a multi-level marketing or a timeshare. I say, you know what? I say, hell yeah, it was. I said, you need it too. How many medications are you on? How many medications are you on? Well, yeah, I'll tell you, I know you're on multiple medications. I didn't typically know how many they're on, but I know they're on medications. Ooh, a few. I say, man, you've been sold. You've been sold that health comes from the outside in. And guess what? I love you to death, but it's not working. Right? See, if someone comes at you like that, I'm going after him. And you should too. You shouldn't back down. That's not my normal routine. But you should have the confidence and boldness to be able to tell someone, sit down here and let me tell you what's up. Right? Because I'm concerned about you and your family and that you're not getting this right now. And that you're taking a bill of drugs and you're not thinking twice about it. You come into my practice, I try to educate you, and you call a sales pitch? I don't think so, bud. And if you don't like it, there's the door. Right? That's what I'm talking about. No, that's the, don't get me wrong, that's the extreme approach. But sometimes you guys ask, what happens when so. So that's what I do. Right? A lot of times we have a tendency to ask what happens when it rains Snicker bars questions, right? What happens when they don't want to take x-rays? What happens when they don't want to take x-rays? We take x-rays or office, bud. Right? You go flying a plane with a radar? When's the last time you flew a plane with a radar? When's the last time you went to your dentist and you told them, I don't want x-rays? Yeah. You know, when they're about to do some type of procedure. No, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. If your dentist says you need x-rays, you take x-rays. If you don't want x-rays at dentist, guess what? You go somewhere else. How comes because we're chiropractors we get beat up on? Tell you, a lot of chiropractors out there. Here's the funniest thing that happens to me all the time. Funny thing happens to me all the time. It's so stupid. So stupid in chiropractic. Sam knows what I'm talking about. I get a request for records from a chiropractor down the street. Right? We never request for records. Something we don't do. Why would I request that jabroni's records when I could care less what he does? Right? First of all, I know he's barely a chiropractor. The only reason chiropractor is because he graduated from chiropractic college. Right? Now, I got some respectable chiropractors in my community too, but a lot of them are jabronis. Michael's not here, so I'm using his terminology. It's like they request, it's so stupid. So stupid. Because I know what's going on in their house. They request records, right? So I'm like, oh, it's so stupid. It's going to take my team members time. It's like email. It's like, this is so dumb. Because you know what's so dumb? Guess what? I know they've already adjusted the dude. I know it. There's no way they walk into this jabroni's office. He doesn't have the balls to tell them they need x-rays. I had one this week. I called the guy. I was calling him. Hey, what's up, man? I just called him. I was like, I call. That's what I do. I get records. I always call. Hey, what's up? Hey. You know, if it's this situation, because the guy who requested record had been in my office for 3 years, and his last x-rays were close to 6 years old. I mean, what are you gonna do with that, right? I don't know. What did adjustment 3 years ago mean, and x-rays 6 years ago mean to anybody? Nothing to me. Nothing to me. Things change in 6 years, don't they? Things change in 6 months. So anyway, I say, hey, it's just Jeremy. Yeah. He's like, it's so funny because I had a little cough. I had a little cough, and I call him. So I coughed like once, twice in the call. And then I call, he's like, man, you need probiotics, bud. He's like, no, you're cough. You need to take, as he say, you need to take probiotics. I do take probiotics. So, you know, it's funny he said that. So I said, hey, he hadn't been in for like 3 years. Oh, really? Yeah. I said, his x-rays are close to 6 years old. I said, you sure you want these? Would you send a copy of the x-rays? Okay. Yeah. The point is that that's why I know this guy. I know everybody's, he already adjusted the dude. So this was done about it. So if he already adjusted him, probably twice by the time I called him, what's he want x-rays for? You already adjusted the guy. He's going to look at him after the fact now if you adjust him a couple times? I mean, I don't know. He's going for his record. It just doesn't make sense. The hardest thing you'll do in your practice is the hardest thing happens. Family comes in, you meet him at a health talk or a health fair you went to, or maybe they got referred in, right? Who wants a referral practice here? Who wants a referral practice? That's right. Now I got a little news for you. I just a little icebreaker here, right? I don't want to step on your toes. Did you know that you actually have to have people in your practice first in order to have a referral practice? You don't know that, right? Okay, good. Okay, just making sure. You want a referral practice, you actually have to bring people into practice, take care of a bunch of people, and then they say, hey, you're pretty good, I'm going to refer somebody. So you don't know that, right? Who wants to take care of kids and families and pregnant ladies? Kids and pregnant ladies, right? I got news for you. You have to build relationships, build trust, like take care of some families and some adults. And they're like, oh, I kind of trust this person. And then eventually they say, what? will you take care of my newborn? Right? I just for he doesn't have like this. It's like, oh, hey, yeah, we just were driving down the street. We saw your little sign. And yeah, we got this 3 deal. We thought we'd just bring her in, like your checker. Nah, doesn't happen like that. I got news for you. I don't care if you've been to ICPA or all these pediatric courses. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. I've never been to any pediatric course. We have the largest pediatric practice in our area. I haven't. I'm not saying not to. I'm not saying not to. But I'm just saying. Right. All right, let me get through these slides, huh? What are we talking about, jabroni chiropractors or what? I don't want you guys to end up being jabroni chiropractors. That's what I don't want you to think. I don't want you to be like that. We got enough broke chiropractors in chiropractic, you know? And that's actually what's a problem with chiropractic. The problem with chiropractic is if you looked at Logan College's budget, right? Logan College budget, little big circle, right? Guess where, I don't know, I'm sure a huge, now Logan's an older school, so maybe they get some alumni support. But I get the biggest chunk of the money that comes to Logan is from where? Student loans, right? Student loans. They get a big chunk. I'm sure it's 80, 90% plus comes with student loans. That's fair. That's not wrong. All the schools do, all the colleges, right? So that means if they get their student loan money, they need to what? Be really friendly with who? CCE, right? CCE, the crediting agency, right? So that means crediting agency basically can tell the colleges what they want done. And on goes the vicious cycle in chiropractic about teaching less and less chiropractic and more pseudo-medicine. I know it happens in school, it happens everywhere, and it's getting worse every day. But wouldn't it be great if you looked at Logan College budget or any chiropractic college, and a good chunk, maybe even 30, 40%, heck, I mean, maybe even 50% came from alumni support. Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be cool. Really cool. Because then be like, hey, we're going to kind of do our own thing over here. That should be like chiropractic college kind of getting together and hold hands and be like, hey, CC, I don't know, we got a lot of support in the profession. We're going to change, but that's a long way from happening. And here's the reason why. Because there's a lot of broke chiropractors out there. When you're broke chiropractor, guess what? You can't give back to your beloved college. You can't give to pediatric research. You can't give to chiropractic great things that are happening in the profession or things you want to advance chiropractic, putting a Super Bowl ad together, things like this, all these different things. Let's do. And it always happens because it can't be done. So we need some chiropractors that are financially sound. And that's an after effect of taking care of people. It doesn't come before, it comes after, right? Some of you heard of Zig Ziglar. He passed a few years ago. Who's heard of Zig Ziglar? He always had a saying, it was like, if you give enough people or you help people, enough people get what they want, then you'll get everything you want, right? And that means a lot of things. That means a satisfaction. In chiropractic, it means financial. It means satisfaction of helping others. The benefits of seeing other people healthy, satisfying career, right? All right, next slide. So you got a plan, but then you get punched in the face. Who here has got punched in the face recently? What could that mean? That means failing part of part two, right? That means maybe you went through divorce. That means maybe you had a surprise baby, right? I wrote that. It means a lot of things. Here's my point, is that you got to have a plan, but sometimes you get punched in the face. The only way, and sometimes it happens when you open practice. Most people get punched in the face, they open practice. It's like, no, I passed part 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I didn't do the baby thing yet. No, I haven't yet. No, I'm not even married. No, I did pretty good in school. Matter of fact, I graduated with so-and-so honors. It's great, yeah. Yeah, you got the money, and you guys put in the beautiful floors, you buy the perfect chiropractic tables. I know because I get calls like this. I get calls all the time, like 2 or 3 a month. It's like, hey, man, I got to talk to you. I just graduated Palmer like 6 months ago, and I know so-and-so, and he told me to call because he's doing so well in practice. He's seeing he's up in like 6 months. He's seeing all these people, and I can't believe the pictures. It just doesn't make sense to me. I said, what's going on, man? He's like, well, it's about 2 months ago, this call. Well, I'm in at my 3rd week in practice. I'm like, well, how's it going? He's like, well, it's going. I said, well, how many people you see last week? He goes, 3. All right. How many you got? This is like a Monday, like lunch. I talked about my lunch break. I said, well, how's this week looking? He said, well, I got one new one on Wednesday. Okay. So if we just said $40 a visit. At 3 visits, well, let's give them 5 visits, third week practice. 40 times 5. Anybody do quick math? $200? I don't know, man. That's not even keeping the lights on. Some of you like to shop Whole Foods, right? Who shops Whole Foods here? Let's be real. We spend $400 a month. Excuse me, a week. I wish I spent $400 a month. I spend $400 a week at Whole Foods. Whenever we go to Whole Foods, we eat at home. I don't know. We eat at home, and that's what we spend. You know, we spend $400 a week at Whole Foods, and so you check out. It's like, man, you guys buying for the week? Oh, we just buy. I don't know. We buy what we want. You know, not like on a budget. But I mean, you shop. If you really shop at Whole Foods, whole family, it's at least $300 a week. Come on now. I got 2 kids. So you gotta get punched in the face. The best way to handle getting punched in the face is be prepared as possible. You can't be if you're not over prepared, come on guys, if you're not over prepared, you're under prepared. You're under prepared. Because you're gonna get punched in the face. I've been punched in the face. We got punched in the face recently, right? We got like a semi-audit in our office, and we're fine. We got, it's just a hassle to get everything together. Got a little slap on the wrist. It wasn't like they're taking money or anything, but it's like, hey, you guys are. So I get it. I got like, this thing happened with the attorney, deposition not too long ago. Not that I got punched in the face, but do these things. Man, I'm busy. I don't feel like sitting down for a deposition and get prepared for that. Video cameras in the office and everything. There's attorneys from different states there. Tractor trailer injury. I took care of the guy. Right? So I'm involved. I did deposition. It's like, well, it was fine. I was awesome. You know why I was awesome? Deposition? I just stuck to chiropractic, man. And the guy, one of the attorneys, was like, man, this is great. You know what you're talking about. It's like, you did a great job. Like, well, I mean, I did a great job, but I just stuck to chiropractic and I taught chiropractic. That's what we did. So, all right, next picture. You got punched in the face. All right, would you like me to give you a floor for success? Yeah. All right, good. It's quite simple. Everything's simple, right? Chiropractic's so simple. Simple. Here's what's wrong with you. Let me explain what's wrong with you. Sorry, no, here you go. Let me step back. Doctor asks, can you help me? Right? Yes, we can help you. Here's what's wrong with you. Let me show you what's wrong with you. Oh, wow. Great. That makes perfect sense. Great. Well, here's the commitment you need to make to get better. Okay. I can commit to that. Great. Come with your adjustments. Get adjusted. We adjust them. They stick to the care plan. 6 months, 8 months, maybe 12 months later, I'm better, right? All right. And in the meantime, as they're hopefully referring or helping them refer a friend and family. That's how you build a chiropractic practice. It's not that hard, guys, right? It's not that hard. It's simple, but I do want to tell you it can be hard work. It can be hard work. I'm not going to tell you it's not hard work. It's hard work, but it's simple, right? But it's satisfying. W rate of failure. If you're thinking failure is the enemy of success, but it isn't at all. You can be discouraged by failure, or you can learn from it. So go ahead and make mistakes. Make go ahead because that's where you'll find success in making your mistakes. Some of you here haven't made that many mistakes. Some of you look pretty good. It's like you dress pretty well. You've never really been in a fight or two. You haven't got punched in the face at all, right? Right? You haven't kind of been punched in the face and had to get back up. School's been great for you. It's like you never really had any issues, right? But if you're not careful, you're going to get punched in the face in your practice. When do you want to make your mistakes? Right? So this right here, it's like the imaginary practice sign. Right? It's like right here when you open your practice. Right? Over there is the practice is open. Over here is I'm not open yet. All right, so where should we make mistakes? Should we make mistakes when we're in practice? Or should we make mistakes before we get open? Yeah. Right? That's why before you drive, you go through like a learner's permit thing. They want to make sure you know how to drive. Right? You got to like do the thing. Remember that? Y'all remember that? Like the shifter and you got parallel park and you're like, oh. And some of you failed that, right? Some of you, but is that stupid? They're not let you on the road before you make sure you know how to drive. They should in chiropractic, like they should throw you into practice and see if you can put some butts in the seats. You know what I mean? Butts in seats, right? That means real people actually stepping in your practice. Unfortunately, some of us, maybe not you guys here, maybe you'll take action because you haven't crossed the line yet. But most of our colleagues, they're going to wait to do anything until they go over here. And guess what the worst part of that is? It hurts. The punches really hurt. The punches over here, they hurt, when you make mistakes, any punch hurts. It's like you try to talk to some over here. It's like you try to talk to some of our chiropractic. You're like, nah, man. They like give you all kinds of excuses, like injections, all this stuff. Like, man, maybe my family's giving me injections. Like, oh man, I feel like I'm getting punched over here. Over here, man. It's like, you got like a $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 budget a month with your personal and practice budget, right? It's like, boom. I mean, it's punches, bud. The ladies, why is it punches? It's like money's on the line. Landlords, X-ray machines, student loans. Those punches are hard. Punches are hard. Your pride. It's a lot of stuff. So I say, let's make some mistakes over here. Next picture. Come on, don't make mistakes. All right? Get in the marketplace. Some of you need to get into the marketplace now. What does that mean? Let me give you some action steps. Because the worst thing is you're going to be like, yeah, I'm not from lunch. It's great that these guys that come up here. Action steps. Let me give you some action steps. The first thing that you should start doing is talking chiropractic. That's the easiest way to start making mistakes. So, what? I go to someone else? No. When I was in chiropractic school, I used to go because I had to go. Like, there's a point where you got to get patients. I don't know, Logan. Maybe Logan. Does Logan give you your patients? You got to go get them. You still got to get them.
Yeah.
Good, because like Palmer, it's like they're giving they're setting these kids up for serious failure. So you get Palmer. It's like you go to clinic and they give you all your patients. That's stupid because there's all kinds of liability now about people talking. It's craziness. It's craziness. So Palmer now, it's like they're starting to give you my patients. So you know what I mean, right? So this is great. It's great. When I graduate, they give me my patients too. You all right? Nah. Kick you out the door and say pay your student loans. Matter of fact, they actually don't care because now they don't care. They got their money, right? Now you got to pay Sally Mae or whoever they change names to now. So here's what I recommend. When I was in chiropractic school, I used to go around and it's like, man, I need some patients in clinic. I don't want to be stupid and fail, right? Because let's face it, I got one or two passed down to me. That's cool. You can maybe get like passed down, right? Say, hey, here you go. You have family. I remember I got a family of 4. I was like, cool. But other than that, I had to get my own page. So we would go around. And sometimes a buddy would go. We'd go like the local Kroger. You guys have Kroger out here? Mm-hmm. Kroger or Walmart, and we would go into the pharmacy aisle. And we would talk about chiropractic. When we talk about people, I'm going to talk about chiropractic, but I talk about people. So it would look like this. It'd be like kind of, basically we're stalking, right? So it'd be like, you're looking for drugs, right? Academic drugs. Someone's over there. Guys typically like pick on like, one of them I picked on was like the sinus and allergy one or something. Because everybody was there that time of year. I remember being there specifically. And you know, they're like, I'd be like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm like, hey, is he looking for like allergy stuff? Yeah, it's like, oh, you know. And I say, well, if you kind of feel them out because you can tell like they're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. It's like me and be like, oh yeah, have a great day. People be like, you can tell they were kind of like approachable. You go to the South, you see Midwest and South. Midwest is approachable people like New York. It just probably didn't work. I don't know. Midwest like the South. It's like people are approachable. And I say, hey, well, I see you're going on medication. It's like, what's going on? It's like, oh, it's just. I said, well, all these allergies, huh? I said, if there was a way that you could get to the cause of these allergies or like kind of correct the problem instead of taking a medication or drug, would you be interested in hearing about it? There's my opening line, like that, So I just talked to them. They're like, yeah, I'll tell you. So I talked to them, and I know how it was like, obviously, there's attrition rate. Like, eventually be like, no, or some people would follow it through. And be like, yeah, I really want to know about that. I mean, they're still going to buy the drug right now. But it's like, yeah, well, then be like, well, I'll call you. We'll set up appointment. I mean, I sometimes set up appointment right there. I was playing chiropractor, and they would come into the clinic. So I adjust them, and guess what? We don't know what happened. They get better, right? So that's how I built a clinic. Eventually, we were at Kroger one time, and the manager caught me. They said, "We've been watching for you, man. We've been watching you." They kicked me out of that Kroger on near Delk Road, right? Or I would go to the mall. Like the mall, like kind of the area, like the benches and stuff for the kids playing, all that kind of stuff. We're just hanging out, Like, you got that here. I'm just telling you. I'm giving you action steps. So it's like you go there and you just kind of do a survey. So it's like more of a health survey. It's like, hey, my name's Jeremy. I said, mom, and mom's a talk or something. Mom's just kind of hanging out, watching kids, She's like, oh, hey, I say, hey, I'm about to graduate chiropractic school, and I'm thinking about opening up in the community here. Do you know anything about chiropractic, or do you think the community needs another chiropractor? Those kind of questions. See what they say. They're like, oh, no, you'll be able from an F all the way to an A. and you build, get in conversation. People, well, I don't. Maybe they'd be like, what is chiropractic? You know what I mean? So you start talking chiropractic. Another way is you're the grocery store and stuff like that, or anywhere, and you say, hey, I see you're talking a little poor. Hey, look like you're really busy today. Yeah, I'm really busy. You know, my feet a lot. And you're like, oh, really? Well, hey, who's your chiropractor? You just ask that. Who's your chiropractor? Who's your chiropractor? Like after, you know, it's like, you know, build a rapport, you know, you kind of that kind of thing. Here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna say, I don't have one. They're gonna say I don't have one, or they're gonna say, I got a great chiropractor. I'm gonna tell you, oh, awesome, great, yeah. Or they're typically the third thing is, wow, why would I need a card? Like it's like, who's your chiropractor? Why don't I need one? Why would I need a card? Like that kind of, and then you build from there. Those are some things you go out in the community and talk to people, right? I'm gonna give you a fourth way, right? A fourth way is you get some business cards printed up. You get in any situation, you get business card printed up. They allow you to have print business cards, Logan? Tell me no. Okay, I thought you do. Okay, Palmer, they don't let you. So if you're not in clinic yet, you put on the card, chiropractic advocate. Well, you know, they'll put on the card. Okay, good. Put a chiropractic advocate. Right? I get it. You know, you can put chiropractic advocate, right? That's cool. And you put your name on there and your phone number and your maybe you. I mean, it's so easy to make up a makeshift website now, or you maybe put on like a website you really love in chiropractic, right? So then you go around the community, you go to businesses, and you just go to businesses. You like, you walk in there, hey, is manager here? Oh yeah, manager. Hey, we're doing a survey on chiropractic community. I'm doing a survey. I'm thinking about moving in. You know, I'm going to think about being a chiropractor in the community here. I just want to get your perception on chiropractic and how it is. You just like you're doing a survey, right? And what you do is you start talking chiropractic and get all kinds of feedback. I challenge you. You got to be serious about actually taking action steps. Doesn't matter what coordinator is like, man, I don't have any time for that. Get that crap out of here. Do you know that you're only going to get busier? You're only going to get busier? You guys realize, right? It's like, no, man, you don't understand. I got part 2 and 3 MPT coming up. You don't realize how busy I am. I got news for you. Some of you are going to get married soon. Then you're going to have kids. Then you're going to be associate, open a practice. It's going to get busy. It's going to get busy. So get focused on expands. Hang out like you got to hang out like your chiropractors. You know, if you like what you heard tonight, you're like, man, I really kind of like that style of practice. Well, go hang out with chiropractors. One of the worst things you can do is just go to just walk into a chiropractic office. Matter of fact, I challenge you to walk into like your hometown or New York, like maybe near, not like right, maybe you know people that like go to a community near you. Like not right like near the school. Like 3 mile radius doesn't count. It's like, oh, you're a Logan student, yeah. Like go 10 miles away or 15 miles from here. Like, you know, I don't know, whatever town. And you should go to a couple of chiropractors. Maybe you have to go back to your hometown. It's like you just visit chiropractor and say, hey, you know, I'm like a chiropractor student and I just want to come by and talk to you. I'm thinking about opening up the community. This is what you said. This is a classic line. I'm thinking about opening up the community here. And I just want to know what you thought about that. You know, I can guarantee you 9 out of 10 will be hyper negative on you. Oh man, don't open up here. Oh, I don't know, you shouldn't be a chiropractor. Why is that? Why is it? But when you're a chiropractor, you're not competition. Remember? When you're unique and you do chiropractic, you don't have competition. Did you know that? Sometimes you're, man, I'm so worried. It's like the area I'm going to has like 50 chiropractors. I got chiropractors all over the place. And most of them, majority of them, don't do chiropractic. Don't do chiropractic. Doing chiropractic makes you unique and different. Matter of fact, it limits a lot of the competition. Some of you are going to communities like, man, there's so many chiropractors in my community, I really go there. Do chiropractic and you'll have very little competition. If they at all in some communities. If they at all. All right, keep going. I gotta get out of these. Keep going. Time management. I need some time management when I talk. Time management, life management, personal management, manage yourself. This is people who value themselves highly, allocate the time carefully. They will give you time you should not thought. When you love your life, you love every minute of it. You're very careful about misusing or wasting any precious minutes today. A lot of people should be here tonight, man. They could DVR this Cardinals game. I got news. There'll be other Cardinal games. There won't be other times that I'm here or Sam's here, Devin's here. It's like a big deal. Who are you? I don't know, man. I'm taking time out of our family. I paid to be here. And we've got $1 million practice many times over. How about you, man? I like to be here. Me and my wife, we make over $500,000 a year. How about you? I'm not bragging, but I'm just telling you the real deal. You want to see my tax records? I'll show them to you. Over $500K a year. Combined, we're both chiropractors. I do most of the work. You know, these guys, you know, same thing, man. You know, easily make $250,000, $300K in chiropractic a year. I'm talking after. So that's like what's on my personal income return. That's not like what my gross. So that's what I pay taxes on. I got news for you guys. You can do it too. You can do it too. So people should be here listening to this. I'm not saying it's all about money. It's not. It's about serving people, doing things the right way, doing chiropractic. If that's what you want to do. If that's not what you want to do, so that's cool. I'm not saying you have to do it this way, but if this is how you like to, this rings true to you about doing chiropractic and being authentic and being a chiropractor, you can be successful and do it. Because a lot of times professors and all that stuff is like, you can't do that, no, you can't do that. That's not how it works. You got to tape people down. You got to use kinesiology tape, all that stuff. Kinesiology tape, my daughter's here, so be careful. Kinesiology tape, my you know what. That's stuff the curve. That's not chiropractic. It's funny, I won't say his name, but a chiropractor I know is going to land a big deal with university, right? And so he went in there to talk to him, and so there's like all these trainers and everything there. He's got paid to be there, right? All these trainers and everything there, and they're like checking him out. It's like, what do you do? What do you do? Do you do ART? I don't know what ART is. Do you do ART? Right? Do you tape people? He's like, no, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. They're like, oh, we like this guy. I like this chiropractor, right? He's like, what do you do? He's like, well, do any of you adjust here? They're like, no. That's what I do. Like, oh, this makes sense, right? I'm trained. I'm like a physical therapist. I'm trained to tape people and stuff. It's like I stretch people, and I love to do that all day long, right? Stretch people, right? Who here wants to stretch people all day long, right? Who here stretches themselves? It's like, I like it 2 or 3 times a week, a little bit. In the shower, it's like, oh. You guys so incongruent. Right? I get adjust. Who here gets adjust all the time? Okay, we can do that. We can. Let's speak and grow. We get adjust. We adjust other people. It's like we're taping all these people. Oh yeah, I mean you need to wear this like super spinatus thing all the time because I mean I don't know, man. I'm just pulling stuff out there. I think that's what they're doing in these classes. Crazy. Now if you want to be like a hypersensitive super sports chiropractor, go after it, right? But I mean like for most of us here, that's not reality. Most of it's not reality. All right, so you gotta be careful of your time. People are wasting their time not being here tonight. All right, so how about this? Some of us use a different assessment protocol. Whether you do this is subluxation state, you don't have to use this. Some use Titron, some people use different instrumentation. We think being objective is scientific, right? Actually have objective findings in our practices to not only find out exactly where the person's cause their problem is, find an exact assessment. Also, then a lot of the technology we can use for education. Here we go. So this, go back. So this is when they first come in, right? You see that? Because the top one is the first time they come in. And you see the bottom one? The bottom one is like when we do a re-examination. So the first one's like the normal. This is a part we do in our, you know, a lot of times with x-rays, we'll do palpation, we'll do different testing, we'll do thermal imaging, we'll do SEMG, we'll do a range of motion. We do a lot of different stuff, okay? This is one part. There's a visual portion of the exam. This visual part is we show, it's tough to show like range of motion to somebody. Now when you couldn't see it. When you move this way, it was different. So when you move this way, you could only move out there. But when you move this way, you moved a little further. So you have, I guess you could do that. That's probably technology, but this is pretty cool though when you can show them. Remember, simple, right? Red, blue, like red is bad. Red is bad. Oh yeah, okay, red light. Don't go with red light. Right? Green. Oh, green means go. Okay, green's good. Okay, I get it. It's simple. I'm just being real, guys. Come on now. It's like not everybody you're gonna take care of a space engineer, right? You got plumbers, right? You got teachers. You got chiropractors come and see you're stupid. You know what I'm saying? It's like people out there. It's like not everybody knows like what brachial plexus is. Okay, guys. By the way, when you come out of school, when you're talking about X-rays, you're educating someone. You don't say cervical, thoracic, lumbar anymore. You say neck, mid back, low back. This is one of the biggest problems with students come out. It's like, dude, it's a neck. It's not cervical spine. Well, people don't know what a cervical spine is. It's like they don't know what a cervical spine is. It's right here in your T2 near your brachial. The only thing I know is brachial plexus. I keep saying that. Brachial plexus, and where it's kind of like above your rhomboideus. It's like turn the X-ray upside down. You see how I see all the problems are, doctor. Come on, right? I'm not trying to make people stupid, bud. All right, real quick. Top one, initial, right? Red, a lot of red, bad, right? The bottom one is when they came in, let's say 15 minutes later. How does that look? Is that one easy to explain? It's like, yeah, man, I got that. You're like, man, I got that. Mrs. Jones, bad. Nerve interference subluxation. Yup, I feel like a. All right, next time they come in, they try to do a little better, and they show them that. They say, "Oh, it makes sense. I'm doing better." Matter of fact, it says I'm doing better. You all track me, right? Okay. Next up. Initial, right? The first one's the top one. The second one's reassessment. Oh, it's okay. It's like, so now you get questions like, wait a second now. Now, it was on the left, but now it's on the right. It's like, all right, okay, let me explain this to you, Ms. Jones. Now, every time you come in, we make specific scientific curve adjustments, and you know how the bone, which can shift one way, and when Dr. Hess makes adjustments, the bones move, right? And what happens when it moves, the muscle ligaments are pulling and stretching and turning, and things are changing, your spine's adapting, and you're better, right? Oh yeah, I'm better. So you can see how now the nerve interference is shifting and your spine's changing. So that's normal healing process. Healing. Oh, okay, I get it. So it's shifting, is changing. Oh, you got out of that one. You kind of slid through that one, right? Right. I know some of you are like, bone on hard nerve? Simple, guys. I don't know how else you explain chiropractic. You know, I mean, I know sometimes if the nurse comes in or healthcare, we get a little more technical. But come on, man, how do you explain chiropractic? I don't like the bone on nerves. You know, I mean, you guys tell me how to explain chiropractic. I mean, and we talk about neurologic base. We're more specific than this. My team member's probably better than me at this. All right, so you got to this one. You buy skinnier teeth, you got to this one, right? Next one. Oh, shit. It's a great exam. All of a sudden, it pops up. Dr. Hess, can you show it to me? Can you show it to me now? Well, Mrs. Jones. What happened? What are you guys going to say to this? I don't have time. There's a way to talk through this. Extreme example. These do happen, though. A lot of times, the second one happens a lot. It's like there's a lot of moving and shifting of patterns. You got to talk to this stuff. My point is this, is that you got to prepare for this. Prepare for this. I want to see a lot of people. I want to see a lot of referrals and kids, everything. The only way you can see those people is if you prepare. God's not going to send you anything you're not prepared for. You know, God, we call it what you want. It's just life isn't going to send you something that you're not prepared for. It's just not going to happen that way, right? Next picture. All right, whatever you're thinking, think bigger. A lot of us just need to think bigger. That's all. Just need to think bigger. Thinking bigger, though, requires preparation on your part of getting bigger. Next picture. I'm going to end with this. This is fun. I love this because this is kind of, so here's the point. Don't play it yet, Mark. Here's the point of this. Right now, it's like a lot of you have a lot of things to do to make changes. A lot of you need to make a lot of mistakes over here, right? In order over here, doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes over here, but the punches and blows aren't going to hurt. You're going to get some blows. So like first couple people in, it's like they're going to say something, you're going to give them 6 adjustments or 6 visits. And this is what happens. I tell you, classic case. They come in, it's like, oh, so-and-so, you're 2 months of practice. Susie said you did wonders versus my neighbor to go to church there. If you can help me, I'm going to tell everybody. This classic red flag. I'm going to tell, they told me like 3 times already in the first visit, they're going to tell everybody they can help me. I'm like, oh, okay. You're going to shout from the rooftop. Now I ain't like joking. Like, you're going to shout from the rooftop. Oh, I'm going to tell everybody. It's like, right? This person's setting themselves up. Because I've seen it happen. They said it. Because they're just like, blah, blah, blah. They're always blah, blah, blah. It's like 2 or 3 just, I'm doing so much better. I told you I'm going to tell everybody. And then 6th visit, they call the office. They're dropping out. They're just dropping out. Wow, I'm just so busy. and the 10-minute drive to your office, I realize it's too far. It's out of my traffic pattern. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you get. It's kind of like this. And you may not think it's not because in the beginning you're all attached to all your new practice learning stuff. It's like, how could they do? Because she just brought her baby in for one adjustment. And she said her baby was better and she's better. And she got quick care. Right? Those things happen. So my point is this, is that a lot of us have a lot of mistakes to make over here. And I want to show you that don't get all freaked. So here's what happens. Three scenarios after lunch weekend. 1, you're just in complete denial. You're like, man, that was cool, but I've got this. You're like, Devin, I've got this. And you're still gonna get punched in the face, but that's fine. That's cool. We still love you. Come back. It's like the practice member who leaves. It's like, every day we get it because we've been practicing 15 years now. Every day we get reactivations. Like, last night it's like, oh, I can't believe my neck's all. Oh, glad you're back. It's been like 6 years. I don't know. I meant to come out. Whatever. It's all good. So, A, you're in denial. every weekend. B, you're gonna jump. It's like, man, I love this. This is like what I want to go after. Launch club, Fridays, right? Coming tomorrow morning at G105. Fridays, I've been talking about this. Made sense to me. I just know I need to prepare, and like I need to do class, like to balance out, and you're like, okay. And then third person is this, and there's a video about really, is like, okay, I know I need this, but there's so much I need to do. I'm just not gonna, I don't know what I'm just not gonna do anything. Like I know I need to do it. I'm just like frozen. It's like, I don't know where to go. It's like, you're not in denial. But now it's like, the veil's been lifted. It's like, oh my God, they made some good points. Now I kind of need to get ready for practice a little bit here, right? So this is for you. It's small steps, guys. It's small steps. It's bite chunks. You bite a little bit off at a time. You got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. You can't just say, I'm not going to start because it's too much. You got to start somewhere. Go play the video. And I love when he says boom. Hope you have the volume up.
Playing with dominoes. But what you may not know is that a domino can knock over another domino, which is about 1.5 times larger. What I have here is a chain of dominoes. Each one is 1.5 times larger than the previous one. And the smallest domino is about 5 millimeters high and 1 millimeter thick. And a hammer breaks it. And there are 13 dominoes. And the largest domino, it weighs about 100 pounds and is more than 1 meter tall. Ready? Ooh. That was 13 dominoes. If I had 29 dominoes, the last domino would be as tall as the Empire State Building.
You start small, it'll start building. The building, I can tell you all these guys that started at lunchtime, when they came in, it's like, but now their building blocks are getting bigger and bigger to the point where you're like John and Josh. All right, I'm gonna bring up the next speaker. Dr. Sam Stewart is from him and his wife, Dr. Claire Stewart. I've known them for years. They spent some time in my practice. They're class acts. Oh, sorry, Devin. Devin, you're next. Sorry. Devin, I don't have much to say about Devin. Devin, like he said, he got in late. So some of you here, it's like, man, I'm in upper quarter. It's like, I don't know what to do. I'm kind of paralyzed. I think maybe I know it all. Devin got in late, but I tell you this about this guy. Gonstead Club president. He's the leader. He's a go-getter. He doesn't stop at anything. Matter of fact, I even heard him say today, it's like the things that helped build his practice. I thought it was interesting, the things that helped build him. Even some of the stuff that was like kind of less giving back. He's going to keep doing those things, but he's also going to do more. I love that. It means like he's humble enough to know that there's building blocks to building a practice, and he's not just going to kick the bottom out. He's going to sustain the bottom, and he's going to keep growing. Right at 300 visits a year in practice, man, is that amazing or what? Yeah. I can tell you, that's when you start making a little money in chiropractic. Right around 200-300 visits a week, start making a little money, right? And it's good, man. I'm proud of you, bud. Glad you're here. Thanks for being here.
You guys should clap for him, though. All right, just to start, if you guys pay attention to that video, that was pretty great. That was kind of what I looked like in high school. That's what my fiance would date me. So imagine before and after, big change. I'm kidding, but kind of not. So I guess I'm going to start by, the title of my slide is Opinions of Sheep. And, how I got where I was with, or where I am with proper guidance. So before you guys before we go into this a little bit further, anybody want to raise their hand, honestly, if they were thinking about staying home today because you had a long day? It's honest. Like, who wanted to stay home? Right? Okay. Some of you are probably dishonest. All right, yeah. Who was like, I'm just going to come for the pizza. Like, it's free pizza. I don't feel like spending money, right? It's dinner, right? Did anybody have anyone that was like, I'm not going to that? Are you really going to go to that? Anybody have a friend that said that? You raise your hand.
Oh, yeah. So I said that.
Like a few people probably were like, why are you going to go to that? You just a bunch of guys. Like, what are they doing? Who cares? Like, what? And it's really funny because That's what I'm talking about, is the sheep. And the sheep, it's pretty crazy, because the opinions of sheep are what are going to bring you closer to failure, and not the failure that makes you more successful. So let me go to the next slide real quick. So I graduated March 27th, 2014, life grad, not New Zealand. And I told him I can't wait till we do a launch in New Zealand. But I had my aspirations to open right after practice. Because I was the Gonsid leader, I had some really amazing offers to go to actually Sweden and Singapore and actually be an associate there. And I really almost did it, but in the back of my mind, I really wanted my own practice. I really wanted to do my own thing. I mean, I had 6-figure associate offers, and it was because I was great at what I did, but I really didn't know what to do. You know, but in my mind, I was like, I really want to do this. And even crazier, when I started school, I mean, just going in undergrad, there was literally nobody who thought I was going to graduate. And my best friend's mom, I'm not even kidding, my dad didn't think I was going to actually make it through school. I come from a family of a steelworker and a teacher, and I love my dad with the bottom of my heart, but he specifically told me that I was not going to make it through college, and I should just, you know, keep working a job. Don't go through undergrad. And got through undergrad, and then it was time. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a doctor of chiropractic. I was so excited. I brought my dad down to Life University for my I guess you guys remember that great tour of the school where you're really stoked and they fluff you really good about like how everything's great. Like you're like, oh man, X-rays, this is great. Like check this out. And they're like, yeah. And then they tell you nothing about the real life. Yeah. And then you keep moving forward. My dad, on the way back, my dad was like, you should not go there. You should just take a job in biology, because I graduated with my undergrad in public health, or not public health. I don't even remember what my undergrad was, honestly. I think it was biology, health science stuff. It was really good. There's a lot of chemistry and crap like that I really didn't care about. That you guys probably have to take care again, that you probably took in your undergrad too, right? Isn't that the best part? They tell you that all those prereqs you're gonna retake for money out of your pocket that you're gonna borrow from someone, right? And that was great. But my dad was like, "There's no way. Like, just forget it. Can the idea." I found out recently in practice that I'm taking care of my best friend's mom, and she told me that she did not think I was going to graduate undergrad either. Now her son is my office manager, and it's kind of funny. I love he's my best friend. He's awesome. Like, he's a genius. But he even told me, he was like, "Bro, I didn't think you were going to make it through school." I graduated my undergrad before my best friend, who was the valedictorian or Salturian or one of those Torians in high school. I don't know what it was. He ended up following me to chiropractic school 1 week before, like just decided in a week. He was a real good guy. If he ever jumps on board with Launch, it'd be great, but he kind of hates his job. So he's doing a lot of taping. Oh man, he loves it. He's a taping machine. Anybody know who can get rock tape certifications? Anybody, right? Anybody. Seriously, anybody can go get rock taping certifications. You don't need specialties. You can go to seminars, pay a certain amount of money, and then go do that. So how many people can actually leave a school and then do something neurologically and specific based to actually help people and serve a community? I mean, there's not really anybody can just go take a class for like $600-700 and go adjust people. That'd be great, right? If there is, you guys, we're gonna have to take that over, make sure that we can buy it out, turn it into something, right? No, but I was the Gonsid president. Like I said, I was a big shot. I was super excited. I thought I was gonna be able to do everything. I was the guy that was probably one of the sheep that said, I'm not gonna join that. Probably was one of the people in this room right now that was like, no, it's no big deal. I got this, right? And it's really humbling when you realize how hard life actually is. Does anybody have friends that graduated in undergrad somewhere? Like anybody, your friends from your undergrad in general? Anybody know any people with an undergraduate degree that actually had to take a job in something else? Like they ended up working for Verizon, or they have a business degree and they're working as a server, or they're a bartender, or anything like that, right? So think about that person that went through undergrad to be something, and then when they graduated, these people are bartenders. They're not able to do what they went to school for. Now, what's really crazy is when you meet a chiropractor in the future that is a teacher at high school, or that is the anatomy professor at something. You know, it's like, what did you go to school to do again? You know, that's like the equivalent of becoming the server or the bartender. I'm not hating on your friends, but at the same time, how great would it have been if, you know, they wanted to be the, you know, maybe they wanted to be the business owner, or they wanted to be, I can't even think of professions right now because I love chiropractic so much. But let's say they wanted a profession, and then someone came in and was like, hey, let me help you do exactly what you want to do. So we're going to come in here, we're going to show you exactly how you can be exactly what you want to be. And you don't have to be that bartender or that friend that's there, right? You think that a lot of people would take that advice? I mean, really, like if someone came in and wanted to talk to someone about being a businessman or CEO of a company or a life insurance seller or something like that, a realtor, don't you think people would take that advice? Like, hey, we're going to teach you exactly how to do it and how you can be super successful. Here are hundreds of people that are killing it right now. Do you want to be just like them? Jump in on it, right? A lot of people would take that advice, but a lot of people are very afraid. So there's people who are afraid and the people who are telling you not, that they can't do it. Well, the funny thing is, you know, the opinions of sheep are the ones that, again, are going to pull you away from what you really are focusing on. So there's people that probably aren't here, that those little sheep that were whispering like, hey, no, I'm going to just stay and watch the Cardinals game. I really don't. Baseball's boring. I don't even know why you guys watch that stuff. Might as well, like, if you really want to watch something, go bring a beer out here. I don't care. I don't think, can they do that? They can't do that. They can do that? Yeah, there's pizza in there. Watch some guys speak about stuff. I don't know. Logan University. It's my first time here, okay? I actually almost went here, too. But, you know, let's go to the next slide. That's great what I'm talking about. But, you know, it's really funny because the sheep are usually always the people that are telling you you can't do something. So anybody seen The Pursuit of Happiness? You guys remember like when you cried during that? I cried. I'm not gonna lie. If anyone wants to say something about that, I can bench roughly about 365. So seriously though. So when you read this quote, when people can't do something themselves, they're gonna, as Will Smith said it, they're gonna tell you that you can't do it. Right? Well, my dad was a welder. My dad was an immigrant. He came overseas and he failed. You know, he couldn't make it through undergrad. My dad went to the same undergrad I went to. He couldn't make it through because he had no guidance. His parents were overseas. My dad was here, and he was still sitting here telling me, hey, don't fail. You know, don't do that. You're just going to fail. He was just afraid for me. And then, you know, continuously kept knocking me down. It was kind of sickening because, you know, I love my dad. He's awesome. He's amazing. But at the same time, that was the one guy I wanted to make proud. At the same time, he was the one that was telling me not to do what I was doing. And for some reason, I listened to the wolf in the back that was actually telling me you can do it. You know, my best friends told me you're not going to be able to open your practice out the gates. But when your dad's a welder and your mom's a teacher, you really don't have the backing for funds to open a practice, right? When you guys start going through that 6th try and 7th try and all that good stuff, and you're like, man, what am I going to do, right? Like, some of you guys probably raised your hand and said you're going to be in this state or that city or something like that. You don't really know where you are. You just kind of got an idea, right? And maybe you're like, you know what, sounds like a pretty good idea. But at the same time, you have someone telling you that you can't do it. Anybody think they couldn't graduate school? Do you guys have like a percentage of how many people make it through without failing a class? You guys have that? Do you guys talk about that in first try?
It probably isn't high.
Does anybody know that? You guys know what I'm talking about? So at Life University, there was a statistic. There was 170 of us in our first quarter, which is like our first try, I guess. And I got in this little clique of friends. They're really big. We all ended up like the leaders of our actual technique or the leaders of our, you know, our group or organization. And no matter what it was, we actually all stuck together. We ended up having like, I don't even remember what we called ourselves. We called ourselves like the seminar or something like that. It made no sense. But we hung around each other and we were like, yeah, we're the leaders of everything that we're doing. We know exactly what we're doing. But the thing is when we came back early in the beginning of our first quarter, I remember we're sitting down there and everyone was like, you really think you're going to be able to make it through school without failing a class? And I didn't graduate that grade out of MTSU. I went to Middle Tennessee State University. I went through school. I did graduate with a 3.0, but I started off with some D's and some C's, and I had to retake some courses, but it happens, you know. You're going to get punched in the face, and how are you going to react? And, you know, when we were sitting down, I remember sitting at a table in front of, there's this thing called Socrates Cafe, where we were eating lunch or dinner, and they were like, you are not smarter than the 18% that is going to make it through school without failing a course. And every single person in that group told me that I was not smart enough to make it through without failing a course, right in my face. And it was like, man, no matter where I go, everyone wanted to tell me I couldn't do something. And it was so irritating because no matter what, I just still wanted to do it. And you saw the picture of the guy punched in the face. Try getting punched in the face all throughout life. Constantly punched in the face. I honestly asked Brooklyn out to a date maybe 10 to 15 times. No joke. We met in high school. I came back after 8 years from like Middle Tennessee State University freshman year to graduating my doctorate degree, and I come in here and I walk right into her salon with my long hair. I didn't lose the bet. I actually won the bet. That's how I got long hair. And you ask her, I sold the hell out of myself to get that date. And I got that date and I won. And it was like, boom, right? Like always defying the odds. And the thing is everyone always wanted to say, hey, you can't do this or you can't do that. And it's always the opinions of sheep that you want to try and listen to. It's ridiculous. So that 18%, when they brought up that I was only going to be the 18% or I wasn't smart enough, then 18% of 170 people to actually make it through. And I said, I may not be the smartest. I'm not the smartest. Now I can remember what the brachial plexus is and the median nerve and all that good stuff. I can even tell you about the fasciculus, granulus, and all this crazy stuff. That's because the reason why I could make it through and graduate with honors is because I said exactly what I said that day, that I may not be the smartest person, but I will work harder than our valedictorian. I will work harder than anyone that steps in front of me. And that work ethic is really what will move you into what you want to do. So the people that decided to go home, that slept in, maybe I want to just go home, go play, go have a good time. You will never, ever look back and get upset about the hours that you lost sleep making an A. Is anybody mad about, like, anybody make an A recently you were super excited about? Did you get ticked off about studying late, maybe? Or when you made the A and you were like stoked, like, man, that rad test was ridiculous. But you were up until like 3 a.m., right? You stayed up till 3 a.m., you aced this test, because if you didn't, you would fail the course or something, I don't know. But you did not, a year or 2 years later, look back and be like, dang, I lost some sleep that night and I didn't really make it. It was hard the next day when I got up. I was still kind of tired that second day after that A. Got stung. But the thing is to stop listening to the people that are telling you you can't do something. No matter who it is, even if it's your father or your best friend, if it's your girlfriend or boyfriend, whoever it is, instead of actually just stop listening to them, why don't you actually tell the sheep to become a wolf? Instead of constantly telling you that you can't do something, what about if they can't do it? Well, if I can't do it, can you do it? Why don't we try and do this together? Why not? The people that didn't come, that you were probably like wondering about, like why didn't they come? Do they really have it together? The person that maybe told you not to come that's not here, do you guys think that person knows everything? Maybe, can you think of someone? No. Is there anyone on campus that you're like, man, that guy knows it? Don't say John Calhoun but someone that was like, man, they are not involved in anything and they're going to be amazing. They are the best. They're the greatest. They're going to come out of here and they're going to crush it and they're going to make a lot of money, serve a lot of people, do exactly what they want to do. No, you can't name one person. I dare you. I would write their name down right now, because that person that you think is going to be amazing, write it down, put it on your mirror, and keep an eye on them. Because when you graduate, watch where that person will be if they continue to have that attitude. So we'll go to the next slide. I'm kind of mean, by the way, so if I'm mean, I'm sorry. If I hurt your feelings, it's just part of it. So, I wanted to be, I love athletes. I like working with athletes. I don't really like babies. They're like really ugly mole rat things. They're really like, there's like 1 out of 1,000 babies that are cute. And I was like the ugliest baby ever. Like I saw a picture of myself. I told my dad, like, you shouldn't just throw me off a bridge. Man, I had one squinty eye and a tongue sticking out. All my pictures were hideous. Thank God I got cute. It was terrible. Oh my gosh. But see, I wanted to work with athletes. I love toddlers, so the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. They're always the cutest when they're not yours. Bless you. He's the loud sneezer that gets kicked out of the class. But I really wanted to work with kids. I really wanted to work with athletes. I think pregnancy is weird, but I wanted to take care of pregnant women. You know, it's like they walk around with an alien inside of them the whole time. And I'm like, man, I want just that big bellied person right there. Like, I wonder if it's going to cavitate like I would expect. Like, is it going to make a loud pop? But I wanted to do that, and I wanted to take care of the little old lady that's like comes up to bring you your Chick-fil-A meal, and she's like, oh, there you go, precious. Don't you want to take care of that sweet little old lady? Like, you know what you do, right? I really wanted to take care of everybody, and I couldn't find a specialty because the thing is I wanted to be the best at every single bit of chiropractic. I did not want to be the best of athletics or the best of pediatrics or the best of the little lady or the alien carriers. I wanted to be the best chiropractor. I didn't want to be the best nutritionist. I did not want to be the best physical therapist. ART is active release technique, by the way. It's like this massage thing, and you know what? If you guys like ART, that's great, but that's cool. It's a PT thing, and when you call up any PT clinic, call them. I dare you tomorrow. If someone's like, man, I love ART, I'm gonna do ART. I dare you to call 10 different PT offices and ask them if they do ART. I guarantee you that they're doing ART. Now, if you ask them if they do upper cervical chiropractic, or if they do you use the integrator to adjust, or have you ever heard of the Nervoscope, or have you ever heard of a Titron, or they're not gonna know what you're talking about. So why are we trying to be like other professions? Does anybody agree that the health is a puzzle? Like we all have our place, except some of the place kind of stinks, and they just want money. Like maybe the pharmaceuticals could go, maybe the vaccines could go. I don't know. I don't have kids. I haven't had to make that decision. They're ugly. I'm sorry. She knows it too. Brooklyn's like, hopefully it doesn't look like you. Hopefully it looks like me. But so I want to see athletes. This guy right over here in the yellow shirt, he is the 14th fittest man in the world in CrossFit. I took care of the 20th fittest man in CrossFit in Masters. So I took care of the old fit guy and the young fit guy. Like it's like he was in. This guy looks like a gorilla when he takes his shirt off. The 50-year-old man. I mean, it's kind of crazy. His torso is like this big and his arms are jacked. But I really wanted to see everyone. So next slide. So next slide. There we go. So this was the objections to open, because remember, like there's a lot of reasons to quit. And then when it was time for me to do what I wanted to do, I was ready to go. I went to Banks. Man, it was great. I remember when I got my business plan together. I was so stoked on my first meeting with a bank, and I walked in there and I talked to him, and this woman, her name was Cheryl. Cheryl looked at me and she said, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 25. And she was like, you want a loan for your business? And I'm like, yeah, definitely, yeah. And I was like, look at this. And she's like, she starts hitting me with a bunch of objections, and she starts laughing. And she just laughed at me. This woman literally laughed in my face. I'm a 25-year-old. I told her, like, I just graduated my doctoral degree in 3 years. Like, I graduated the fastest I could possibly graduate. I have 2 degrees. Like, I could have had 3 and graduated the same amount. I just decided not to do the Master's of Exercise Science because it was more money and it was pointless. Really, like, it's pointless. But, she's over here laughing in my face. And I'm saying, it's ridiculous. So I remember just thinking, like, man, this is like walking into a bank and imagine this right now. So I'm stepping out, and I'm like, go ahead and kick me. Right now. And I remember, like, I got a call, like, maybe 2-3 weeks before. It was Michael Viscarelli, Dr. Michael Viscarelli. He should have been here. He probably was trimming his beard or something like that. That's a really good excuse, though, a car accident. I'm just kidding. It probably really was a car accident. I'm just trying to bust him there. But there was finances, there was merchant stuff. Does anybody know what a merchant exchange is? Can anybody name one merchant exchange other than Square? Everybody gonna use Square in their office? Man, no, you're not gonna use Square in your office. Anybody got like a bunch of cash in their pocket to pay for all their visits right now? No, you need all that stuff. You need help with that. You need guidance with that. Who are you calling to ask for that? I didn't know, and I thought it was a big shot, but like 3-4 weeks before, he gave me a call and he said, hey, we've got a few people said that, hey, you're a big leader, you're a big on-setter, you're probably gonna be successful regardless, but we'd love to have you part of this group. to just be a little bit better. You know, every great athlete needs a coach. And I'm like, he's like, yeah, if you decide you don't like it, you can get out. It's not a big deal. And I'm like, this guy called me to tell me to jump on board, but get out if I don't want to be here. That doesn't sound like any type of scam or a weird thing. Or like if I decide I don't like this guy, I'll probably send him some hate mail or something. But I was like, what? So then 2-3 weeks later, I jumped on and I was using this module, and I call him on his cell phone, and he answers my question on what to do with the bank. And help me with my business plan. And then he calls someone else and sends me this business plan to work on. And I'm like, man, this thing's great. Now, the thing is guess how many banks I had to still walk through? 21 more. I went to 22 banks. Who is on your side when you're at 22 banks, when you go to 22 banks that are saying no? Like, who's behind you saying, man, you can still do this. It's going to be okay. I'm so excited for you. It's going to, oh, man, number 20, number 19 is going to be it. It's okay. Like, I remember first time the charm, and then after that, everyone kind of fell off the block there. That old woman was like my grandma. She didn't even know what I was doing. She didn't even know what my degree was. She's so old. But seriously, she makes the best cookies, but she knew nothing. She really doesn't even know what profession I'm in. I'm not even kidding. She said, "Good job, done." But the thing is like there was all these questions, and you know who you call, and you know I had an idea. I visited. He talked about how you walk into an office. Like the hardest thing you would do is walk into an office and try and figure things out. I walked into 60 chiropractic offices before I opened my own. 60. Not even the good ones. I walked into ML practices. I walked into PI practices. I walked down all these offices, and man, they were weird. They were kooky. They were strange. The one guy tried to hook me up to these electrodes on my fingers to tell me what type of deficiencies I have in iron. I was like, can you explain how that works? And he's like, yeah, read this pamphlet. Well, hold on, man. Can we get a little doctor conversation here? What are you doing? And then he's like, well, you know, someone came in and sold this. Does anyone do we have a class? Do you guys have a class in nutrition where you hook up your fingers to electrodes? Do you guys have an injection trigger point therapy class? Please tell me you don't. Does anybody have that class? Guess what a lot of people want to do when they get out? They want to buy in on all these stupid retail things, all these daggum vitamins and percentages on every single thing, and multi-level marketing. Anybody like Avocare? Man, I get like 15 Avocare people in my door every other week, and honestly, someone paid $3,000 for me to be an Avocare advisor. I've not sold one daggum thing. I get $3,000 worth of Avocare, like protein shakes, if you guys want them in my house. We're not using them. Brooklyn's like, yeah, we like, seriously, that box needs to go in the office there. Like, I don't know what they're doing. They're just really nice. They're like, you're definitely going to be great at selling this. What? What are you talking about? I was even like, I'm not going to be doing that. Like, all I'm going to be doing is adjusting. That's why I want to be the leader of health of chiropractic adjustments. So, all these questions. Does anybody know what their office space layout is going to be like? Anybody know how many exam rooms, how many adjusting rooms you should have, how much square footage you should start with? Whether, how many people, where do you hire people? What about that? Where the heck do you hire people? Do you guys expect to have an office by yourself? Just one person? It's going to be real hard to see a lot of people with one person. And guess what? Finding help, it's really hard. It's not like, Chick-fil-A circulates through, I think, 300 applications in one store a month. I asked the manager that because I was like, how do you guys find all these great people? Who has time to circulate through 300 applications in a month? Because you got to focus on the merchants and the equipment, the finances, the momentum of just, I'm opening a practice. I should probably be passionate about it and not get beat up during the whole time. And then, he brought up the Mike Tyson quote there. But, the way that I kind of think of this whole group is kind of like walking into a fight to Mike Tyson. Anybody think they can walk in and just take down Mike Tyson right now? Like, I would deck that guy with the tattooed face. I would take him out. But the thing is imagine going in a fight against Mike Tyson, and you have absolutely nobody to bring the stool out for you to just sit on, right? You get done in the first round, and you're just up against I'm going to try not to back into this and get chalk on my butt again. But you back up against the ropes, and you're like, okay, I'm just going to hold it. It's round one. I made it. It's like 11 more rounds. I think he broke 3 of my ribs already. And I ran around like Mayweather the entire time. And then you're like, like, yeah, Pacquiao should have won. And you know, you're like, man, what do I do now? Like, oh man, I'm thirsty. There's the water. Oh crap. Can I get a towel? I just want to sit down. It's round 1. Round 3 goes around. How tired are you? When nobody's behind you. What happens at 21 banks when you have nowhere to sit down? Round 21 out of 20 banks. Like the only person that was actually really optimistic about me making it, his name's Dr. Eric Brower. It was the guy I kept calling. I kept bugging him around because he was a CrossFitter and I just like bugging him. And he just had these like sports analogies that made sense with me because I had 7 concussions when I played football in high school. I bled out my ears and my nose once. That's probably why a lot of people didn't believe I make it through undergrad. I got smarter, I promise. But the thing is there's so many objections to open a practice or become an associate or working to just be a chiropractor. There's so many objections to just be a chiropractor, to just adjust. How many people tell you that you have to have rock tape or you have to have PT? You have to bill for this. I had a chiropractor bring 2 TENS units in my office. In my town, a neighbor chiropractor just really liked me. He's a really cool guy. I like him. He's pretty cool. He's just a crappy chiropractor. And I told him, like, you're a crappy chiropractor, bro. And he's like, I just like billing insurance. But he walks in with no joke. I'm not. This is a serious conversation. He walks in with 2 TENS units. He's like, dude, here's 2 TENS units for free. Just hook them up while you're waiting and bill their insurance another $20, $30. And I'm like, dude, why can't they just buy that on Amazon? Because guess what? They can. I dare you to look up. You're going to find like 15, 20 different. You can go to the flea market and pick up what is it, 10 unit? Like, I don't know, all these crazy machines. You can buy those things at the flea market. Like, that's how crappy those things are. Like, they're not important. You don't need that. And what do you do if you're going to the flea market and you're like, man, that's what my chiropractor uses? Huh. It's $10. I think I'm going to buy it and not go to my chiropractor. That's kind of stupid. Can you walk by a booth and be like, oh, I'm going to buy this adjustment in a box? No, you can't do that. There's nobody doing what we're doing. And it's really easy to open a practice when you're being a chiropractor because that's what people really want. Let's go to the next slide before I talk too much. So the big quote is, wolves don't lose sleep on the opinions of sheep. So even though everyone freaking told me I couldn't make it and they told me I was going to graduate and all these things and all the sleep, like, don't be a part of that group. They're full of it. They say hundreds of practices. Like, I will pull up my Logman and show you my schedule. I will pull, like, he talked about it. They show you your, what's it called? The bank account statements. Like, if you go visit an office, out of 60 offices, 1 person showed me their bank account. 1 person actually told me what they were actually grossing. 1 person. I mean, I asked serious questions. I wasn't asking like, oh yeah, so how's practice? How are you doing? Do you enjoy what you're doing? I was like, hey, what did you do here? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Like, how much do you make? Are you serving a lot of people? How are you marketing? What are you doing? They couldn't even answer questions. They just were like, yeah, just follow me around. Just look at this. Or they were like, hey, will you answer a phone? No, don't answer a phone. Just sit here. And I'm like, just walking around these offices, like, this guy's not helping me at all. And I wish. I remember the first time I walked into Dr. Sam's office, because he's about 45 minutes away from me, maybe 50. I just drive way too fast and really bad. But I drove to his office. I sat down and walked around his practice, and I was like, this thing's awesome. And he was like, yeah, check it out. So I had this like area I could walk right through and adjust someone, and then here's the exam rooms. This is all the space that you need. If you use any more, it's going to be kind of ridiculous for you to spend money on an assessment room that's going to, when you're just doing this thing, like, why would you have a 20 by 20 space that you're doing one thing that doesn't need all that extra square footage that you have to pay for that you didn't have the money for in the first place? But, this group kind of had my back. So the next slide is pretty cool. So we were in this conference, and I think that's Denver, right? Is that Denver? Yeah, so we're in Denver. We said wolves don't lose sleep of, right? That's a lot of wolves. You would be a part of a wolf pack that actually, not the one-man wolf pack, like the fat guy, Zach Galifianakis, that doesn't really fun. You want to be that one-man wolf pack, that's where it started. But you jump into a wolf pack like that where everybody's here just willingly giving you as much knowledge as possible for you to be successful. Like, it's really weird when someone's like, hey man, you should do this. It's going to make you more successful. Who does that? Nobody. Hey man, you should, do you want to actually do something a little bit better? Let me actually explain how you can do exactly what you're wanting to do. And I'm not trying to take percentages away from you. I'm not trying to take, half of your profit or make you sign up for a $500,000 clinic that you're not going to be able to get out of if you got 15 lawyers to get out. Like, are you kidding me? It's just, hey, let me help you out. And, that's why whoever was the sheet that you talked to, it's really funny because we talked about having a referral-based practice. Like, that sounds awesome, right? How hard do you think it is to get a referral for someone? Has anyone ever tried to hand someone a number to someone else or bring someone somewhere? We do this awesome thing called a dinner with the doc. Like, you have to be so passionate about something. Bring someone, a stranger from work, or not a stranger, but a coworker, or trust them with your baby, or bring them with. I have one practice member that's actually bringing like 10 people to our dinner, and I'm like, I didn't even know you had that many friends. You're so weird. And he's bringing like 10 people, and I'm like, okay, cool. But he's bringing 10 people. So like the sheep, bring him tomorrow. Just bring him. Let him ask us any questions. Let him hit us with questions. Let the person that's telling you can't do something to try and ask us, try and debunk what we're doing. Like, bring him. I dare him. I would love to talk to your hot shot, Devin. I would love to talk to your Dr. Devin that thinks he's the cockiest guy, because I will make him feel like the smallest child. And then I will pick him back up and I'll put him in my little pocket. I'm like, come on with me, buddy. Let's help out here. Let's do something. But what's the next slide? I don't know what the next slide is. All right. So, I know my wolf pack. That's what I was kind of saying. That there's Dr. Zeus in the middle of there. There's my fiance. She's my boss. She tells me what to do. And that's actually kind of funny, because there was people that were saying, how are you going to open a practice all alone? Your fiance doesn't want to be a part of the practice. She doesn't like me enough to actually be in the practice at all the time. She really doesn't. Look at her face back there. She's embarrassed. I talk too much, and I talk to everybody, and she's such an introvert. She probably hasn't said hi to any of you guys, has she? Has she said hi to anyone? No. Don't give her a hug. That'll freak her out. But say hi. Seriously, don't give her a hug. Like, I will freak you out, guys. But I know my wolf pack. I know my community. I know exactly who I'm going to call. I have someone to text. I get a question. There's someone who's like in practice for 14, 15 years. 15 years, yeah. Why would you not call the guy that's still seeing like 1,000 people a week? Not the guy that changes practice 15, 20 times, right? Maybe call the guy that's actually doing the same congruent, constant thing and just making it better, but still continuously seeing a lot of people. And now he's just giving back. Man's wrote books. How do you write a book and see 1,000 people a week? I'm still shocked on that. I'm like, people ask me a question. I'm like, oh, here you go. Here's a book on vaccines and stuff. I'm like, man, I don't have time to read all that. Are you sure? It's great. Like, those books are awesome. You should read one of those. They're fantastic. But then the next slide is, after all the odds and the crazy stuff, adjusting Godset, taking care of extremities, seeing a lot of people. I bumped a few people with that little metal instrument a few times. Really didn't know what I was doing. So I just stuck with my guns, sling the gun set. I got a giant thumb, so I have an awesome raffle. But getting the keys, I opened an office of $27,000. I did not have a lot. And when I opened my office, I had $600 in my bank account. And I just started a relationship with a person that I honestly, man, I wanted to be with this woman for the longest time. We used to joke around about it in grad school. And, I'm marrying the person that I always wanted to marry since I was a fat, chubby guy. And was it English? I don't know. I didn't pay attention in high school. But yeah, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. Opening a practice just like how someone else did. When I had 1,300 square feet, I can call up a doc that has 1,300 square feet who's seeing 1,000 people a week. Dr. Kowalski has been open 4 years. What square footage do you have? 1,400? Yeah, come on. I remember talking to some other docs, you're going to need at least 7,000 square feet to see 1,000 people a week. You're going to need about 10 doctors because you need to spend at least an hour with each person. Does anybody have that brother or sister or family member that you love seeing them, but you really don't want to spend more than 5-10 minutes? It's family. Treat them just like your family. I don't want to do anything else with you. Do you when you adjust your child, or you adjust your mom, or you adjust, legally, obviously, when you adjust people, are you sitting here spending an hour with them? No, hopefully not. Unless you're massaging them. But call your friends up, drag these people out here, and let's actually tell them what to do so you can actually get somewhere like you want to be. But I guess that's it. I'm going to actually introduce Dr. Sam, who's seeing over 1,000 people a week. He had a baby in the middle of his practice, like opening. It was sick. I used to get up at 3:30 in the morning and come see him for coffee. He would meet me for coffee before his day of like 300 people in a day. I mean, you can't have anything better than that. So let's give it up for Dr. And stay awake. Don't talk too much. Just stay awake. Stay in the room.
All right. So, all right. So if you're tired and you're kind of sore, feel free to stand up, stretch a little bit. Don't leave. So feel free to stretch or whatever. I've got a lot to kind of go over, but I'm gonna kind of blow through it. I want to go through some things pretty quick, but I want to make sure that I can also get through a lot of this information as well. So real quick, everybody get their pen and their paper. You're done stretching. All right. Everybody get a pen and paper, or if you don't have a pen and paper, get your phone out, make a note. I want to do a quick exercise here real quick, okay? So I want you, it should be pretty easy. It won't take much time. I want you to write down why you want to be a chiropractor. What your why is. Write that down. There's obviously no wrong answer. Whatever it is, why you want to become a chiropractor. It might be like, I want to be able to see families get healthy, or I want to be able to get people well the way I got well through chiropractic, or whatever it is. Write that down, okay? What your why is. Again, there's no wrong answer. Don't get too analytical about it, okay? This is something that I want to be able to reference a little bit in these next several minutes, okay? Everybody's going to probably have a little different why, because we're all different people, right? And so we have different reasons why we want to do things. But whatever that why is, this isn't a final answer. The way whatever you wrote down, it can be refined, it can be fine-tuned, but it's very important to be able to know what that why is, okay? Because when the rubber hits the road and when things get maybe a little bit difficult, you need to be able to lean on whatever that why is, why you want to become a chiropractor, and that a lot of times can really push you through on the task that you need to be able to perform. Okay, did everybody write theirs down? Type it up, whatever, we good? So I was asked to talk about perfecting the process. Okay, you can the next slide, Mr. Mark. So I love this saying. It's by Aristotle. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but it's a habit. Okay, you can hit the next slide. All right, so I was asked to talk about some healthy habits that I refined in school. Okay, I would suggest that you write some of these down. Okay, these are some action steps that you can take tonight to start working on tomorrow. Okay, and so some of the healthy habits that I was able to really take hold of when I was in chiropractic school, and to be able to do this in chiropractic school before you graduate is crucial. But really refine what your why is. So whatever it is, whatever you type down, whatever you wrote down, what your why is, to be able to really refine that, to be able to motivate yourself with that why continually, daily, continually motivating yourself with your why, whatever that is. Okay. Find a mentor. For me, I truly believe it saved my chiropractic life. Finding Dr. Hess and finding Dr. Mike, and finding these people that could lead me to where I wanted to go. Okay, because like I mentioned in the beginning, I was more or less lost. I was more or less going down a path that I knew that I wouldn't be even very happy in. Okay, so find a mentor, whatever that is for you. How to find a good mentor? You need to be able to really refine and know what your why is. Right? It's very difficult to be able to find a mentor if you don't know what your why is and why you do that. Find a technique. It can be whatever technique. The good thing about chiropractic is every single technique works. Okay, so whatever technique you choose, whatever is good for you, try to be able to find that in practice, or I'm sorry, in school. Okay, and the reason being is once you graduate, once you grab that diploma, once you give your president or chancellor a high five, you want to be able to know exactly what you're going to do the moment you open those doors or the moment you associate. You want to be able to be very extremely confident in whatever that technique is, rather than, I don't know, I might do a little bit of this, I might do a little bit of that. You can do multiple techniques or whatever's good for you, but know what you're going to be able to do so that you can be comfortable when you get out the door. Learn efficient procedures, okay? What I mean by that is right now, I love this saying is right now you maybe you're try one, you're not really sure what that would look like the moment someone walks in the door in your future facility. but you're probably incompetent in those procedures as of right now. Okay, soon you're going to be, and really you're unconsciously incompetent. You don't really know. We don't really know what you don't know, but soon you'll start learning. You'll start learning those procedures, hopefully during school, and you'll soon be consciously incompetent. Like, whoa, I don't know what to do. I need to be able to learn. Hopefully after this weekend, you start becoming consciously incompetent. Does that make sense? Do you guys follow me? Soon, once you start learning, you get into Launch Club, you start learning some of these things, then you'll start being consciously competent, where you're competent, but you really have to think about it. You really have to try hard. You really have to think. And then what you want to do the moment you graduate, you want to be unconsciously competent in all your procedures. Do you guys follow me on that? Meaning that if I wake you up at 2 a.m. and shake you and say, hey, someone walks in the door, what happens? You'll be able to say, I get the paperwork. I do this, I do this, I do this, I do this. They get adjusted. They pay, right? So know your procedures. Get that in while you're in school. And the goal would be to be unconsciously competent in all those procedures. Make sense? You guys follow me? You're treading with me? So learn to public speak. So I was extremely scared to public speak when I was in school. There was multiple times when I was in high school and undergrad, I took public speaking courses, and they were just miserable, and I would get like hives and sweats before I would go, and it was just the worst. But you need to be able to, how many times have you done health talks, Devin? Even a year in practice? Like 100? Okay, yeah. So to be able to effectively communicate to the community, effectively communicate to families, effectively communicate to moms, or whatever your why is, whatever the avatar is for your future practice, you need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to public speak. The best way to do that is do it right here in front of your colleagues. Because chances are, I bet probably 90+% of people in this room probably don't like public speaking. Okay, so be able to do it. Great way to do that is through Launch Club. Sharpen your leadership skills. Okay, you're going to be a leader in your community. I saw everybody's hand come up that they feel like chiropractic should be the top of the profession. What that means is all chiropractors need to be leaders. If we want to lead the profession or healthcare, we need to be leaders. Some of the best leaders know when to follow. I think that's really important to know. There's a lot of leaders that I knew in my class that were in my opinion, too prideful to follow, or they were too arrogant to follow, or whatever. Okay, right? No. So, but what happens is this: some of the best leaders I know, they know when to follow. Okay, and that's when becoming that mentor, finding a mentor, knowing when to follow and when to follow the right person. Okay, budget for your future practice. What I did in school is every single quarter, we have quarters at Life University. We got our loan check. My goal was to save $2,000 every quarter from that loan check. So after 14 quarters, I was going to have $28,000 saved for my future practice. Okay, so that was my situation. That's what I decided to do. Try to make a goal for that for you. If your first try, maybe your 8th try, whatever, if you can save $5,000 of your own money from some of these loans, scrimp and save a little bit while you're in school, make it work. If you can get a hunk of money, that capital is going to look very good to banks. That capital is going to look very good to investors if you go through investors. Okay. Obviously, even if you were going to associate, it's going to be nice to have $10,000 in the bank or $15,000 in the bank when you start off. Okay. So start budgeting while you're in school. Research your future community. Everybody write this down. If you're going to look at your future community, go to citydata.com. They have citydata.com. City Data, that has everything that you would ever want to know as far as your future community. It's going to talk about household income. It's going to talk about percentage of families in that town. It's going to talk about the growth in that town. It's going to talk about all kinds of weather, winters, whatever. That's a great way to do that. Once you know your community, or you feel like you know your community, then you can start getting on their chamber websites. You can start getting on their county websites. Start looking up future events or future opportunities. Start brainstorming exactly what's going on. Once you know what your why is, then your vision can start expanding. It's hard to really expand your vision unless you know what your why is. Does that make sense? So first, that why needs to be refined so that you can start really expanding your vision of what your future practice is and what your future situation is. Okay. Serve other offices. This is one thing I think one of the best things I did when I was in school is making sure that I served at other practices, and not just like showing up and kind of like observing or showing up and shadowing,
but seeing what I could do to get my hands dirty, like Dr. Hess said, going to Dr. Hess's practice, seeing if I could screen, seeing if I could try to set up health docs, see if I could start going and going to his doctor's reports or helping out when he had other students in the practice. Okay, serving other people's practices. It's really hands-on experience that you're going to be able to get without the negative of potentially screwing it up. Okay, and there's plenty of times that I screwed up at Dr. Hess's office, and he's gracious enough to allow me to be there. But you can get your bumps and bruises while you're in school. Then when you get out, you'll be refined in that. Okay, talk chiropractic and learn objections. Launch Club, go to Launch Club, because that's really the purpose of Launch Club. Okay, doing that, Dr. Hess covered that quite a bit. And then solidify your game plan. And what I mean by that is it's basically all this, but knowing your game plan. Well, if I graduate March 26th, 2017, well, then I'm going to move and I'm going to be settled in by early April. Then for 3 months, April to July, I'm going to market my community, and I want to be able to open. My goal is to open July 2017, something like that. Okay, having that game plan solidified, having that written on your wall, on your mirrors, whatever, so that you have a goal and something in mind, so that when it comes to completion and fruition, then everything's set ahead of time. Kind of expanding that vision. Do you mind hitting the next slide, Mark? So what I chose not to do, I chose not to sit on my butt. Okay, so with your first try, 8 try, 9 try, 10 try, you need to really be able to push yourself to be able to try to do more. I know you guys are doing a lot of school. I know you guys, some of you guys are you're getting married. Some of you guys have small kids. Some of you guys are doing some of these things. Some of our leaders in Launch Club who are doing a lot either have kids or they're engaged. They're trying to have a lot of things going on in their life, but they're able to still do a lot of these things, serving at our practice, going around, really be able to get outside your comfort zone and start doing things. Spend unnecessary money. I kind of talked about that. Listen to haters. Dr. Devin talked about that real well. Miss out on club, miss out on conferences. When I was in school, I never missed a club, and I never missed a chance to go to a conference. Okay, and it's selfishly, it's because I knew it was going to better myself. I did it for no other reason than what I was going to be able to get out of it. Okay, procrastinate and then focus on non-chiropractic. Okay, and this hit home for me because when I was in undergrad, I was a personal trainer, and I made a lot of money in undergrad doing that. I was the head personal trainer for a couple gyms in our area, and I was also a nutritional science major in undergrad, so I felt like I was pretty knowledgeable on a lot of these topics. But the moment I started doing some of this research, right now, according to the Labor Bureau statistics or whatever, I looked this up on Google about 12 hours ago. There's 276,000 personal trainers in America. There's 132,000 massage therapists. There's 206,000 physical therapists. There's 70,000 nutritionists, not even talking about dietitians, but 70,000 nutritionists. And according to the Labor Bureau statistics, whatever, only 30,000 chiropractors. And if we're being honest and really conservative, how many of those chiropractors are doing chiropractic? You know, how many of those chiropractors are really talking about subluxation, talking about what we alone can remove? Okay, I'm not going to throw out a number because there's no point, but I think you guys are following with me. Okay, because if we did right now, if we went outside and we talked to people down in Chesterfield or in St. Louis, and we talked to 100 people and we asked them, hey, do you know it's not good to eat white bread, or do you know that gluten potentially is bad for you, or if you know that you need to eat more fruits and vegetables, I would say over 95% of those people would say, absolutely, I know that. Or if I said, you know that you should probably exercise more, you should probably walk more, or you should probably stretch more, I'd say 95% of people would know that. But if I told them something very simple, do you know that you should get your nervous system checked? Do you know that everybody should get checked for subluxation? Who believes that everybody should get checked for subluxation? At least checked for subluxation. Everybody should at least be checked, right? What, maybe 2% out of that 100%, out of those 100 people would know that you maybe should get checked for subluxation? They say right now, I think, and Dr. Hess can correct me, but I think less than 3% of people go to a chiropractor. Is that right? Something like that. I think that was research. Less than 3%. So what that means right now in my little town, there's 50,000 people in my town. 50,000. We have 15 chiropractors. As far as I know, I'm really the only one that does chiropractic, specific chiropractic. So whether I see like 1,000 a week, there's still 49,000 plus people that need to get checked for chiropractic. And it's great that Devin and I we're doing well or whatever in Nashville, but we need more than 2 chiropractors doing better in Nashville. We need at least 100 good chiropractors. If we want to be leaders in chiropractic, we think chiropractic needs to be at the top of the profession. We need a whole lot more than 2 people doing well in Nashville. Okay, we need a whole lot more than 100 people doing well in Nashville. Okay, and so what that means is all of us, your classmates, we need to really pick our game up. Okay, myself included, we need to pick our game up. And so what happens is if there's millions and millions of people in your future city and they're not being reached and talked about subluxation, then that needs to change. That needs to change for us to be able to get to where we need to be. And it really starts right here in these schools, whether it's Logan, Life, whatever. It needs to start in the schools, because what happens is once you get out and practice 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you guys know as well as I do, we start selling out a little bit. We go out with, really good intentions, but then we just start selling out with some of these products and some of these things that we sold. I saw that in the practice that I worked in for 4 years. It seemed like we were trying to sell something different every 3 months, and it was infuriating because I was like, I thought I was just trying to sell this thing. And all of a sudden that sucks, and now we're selling this thing, and now we're selling this thing, right? And so we're selling ourselves short in that. And so can you hit the next slide? So I think about this a lot. If not you, then who? If not you, then who? Who's going to do it? Someone once told me that there's a lot of people counting on you, most of whom you've never met. And that really hit me hard. I heard that in undergrad, because I remember thinking, you know what? Not only do I need to succeed, but my future wife needs me to succeed. My future kid needs me to succeed. My future grandkids need me to succeed. My future people in the community, they need me to succeed. I truly feel like there's probably people in your future communities, Jordan, Chris, there's people in your future communities right now praying for answers for their health. And right now there's no hope, to be honest with you, because there's people that come into our practice, Dr. Hess, Dr. Devin, there's people that come into our practice almost literally on a daily basis, and they have no hope with their health. 20-year-olds saying that they have pain shooting down their arms, down their legs. They get 3 hours of sleep. This guy told me yesterday, he's 20 years old, 3 hours of sleep in a 20-year-old. What's that going to look like for him when he's 25, strung out on meds, 30, 40, 50, And we look at suicide statistics, and we talk about depression and all these things, yet these people are subluxated. No hope for health, okay? And so if not you, then who? And I grabbed some of these sheets, and I was looking at this, actually. I ran to the practice before I left this morning, and I just grabbed the reassessments. We do a reassessment. We make recommendations for everybody in our practice, and then we do several reassessments throughout their care plan so that we can, not only they're feeling better, which is great, and we're seeing changes and they're moving better, that's good and great, but we do objective analysis to check for their nervous system to see the objective results throughout their care plan. So not only they're feeling better, we want to make sure that they're functioning better. And so I just grabbed some of these nerve assessments that we did yesterday. This is definitely not HIPAA compliant, I guess, but neck tremor, I won't say their names, don't worry. Neck tremors, totally better. Hand numbness, totally better. Headache, shoulder pain, hip pain, totally better. Tailbone pain, throat issues. Young girl with asthma, numbness in hands, bladder problems, much improvement. Allergies, wrist pain, headaches, shoulder pain, low back pain, mid back pain, headaches, dizziness, chronic sinus, stomach disorders, anxiety, lightheadedness, low blood pressure. These are all things that people said have been much improvement. Ocular migraines, nausea, numbness in arms, right ankle pain, ear infections, headaches, constipation, chronic sinusitis, anxiety again, nervousness, numbness in the arms, hands, much improved, totally better, off three anxiety meds. Difficulty sleeping, chronic fatigue syndrome, low back pain, leg hip pain, chronic sinusitis. You guys get the point. Eye twitching, okay. And if all those, everything that I just mentioned right there, if that was a pill that did that, imagine how we could market that. We could sell the hell out of that. 0 side effects, yet all those things done by just removing nerve interference. Okay. Imagine if a supplement did that. This room would be called blank supplement hull, right? Because we could sell that like crazy, right? But here it is, that's through specific chiropractic adjustments, okay? And all it is removing the interference, wherever that interference is, allowing the body to be able to function from above, down, inside out, allowing the body to be whole again, the way it was intended to be, healthy, the way it was intended to be, okay? And if you think about it right now, we all have this opportunity. We're in chiropractic school. I believe, my opinion, this is the best chiropractic. This is the best profession in the world. Okay, and if you think about it, we all have this opportunity and this right. Okay, and I was thinking about this earlier. And it was kind of a deep thought, but that happens sometimes when I'm driving by myself 5 hours all by myself. And so, and I was thinking about the heart because I could kind of like feel my heart beating a little bit. And I was just kind of focusing on the road. And I was thinking, you know what? Ever since you're in your womb, your heart beats just like that. And it beats. And when you go to sleep, it's still beating. When you're taking tests, it's still beating. When you grow up, it's still beating. Maybe you go from a baby to a toddler, you start walking. Right? You start going to school, it keeps on beating. You're playing sports, you go to bed, it's still beating. It never stops, constantly beating. It can go a little bit faster, it can go a little bit slower, but it's constantly beating, right? And it keeps beating. Say you go into chiropractic school, you pass your boards, it's beating. Then you graduate, you associate, or you open a practice, you start helping people, you start making money. Your heart's still beating, okay? And it's still beating. Going to bed. Maybe you graduate from a company. Maybe they give you a gold watch. You retire. Okay. And things are beating. Grandkids, whatever. Heart's still beating. Then one day, that heart stops. And at that moment, the only thing that's going to matter, other than where you spend eternal life, the only thing that's going to matter is what you do with that time that you have. And so, we all have a huge responsibility. And whatever that why is, whatever you wrote down on that paper, that's your responsibility. And your responsibility is to carry that out and to be able to make sure that you make the most of that. Would you rather see 10 people or 20 people? 20 people. Would you rather see 1,000 people or 10,000 people? 10,000 people. I want to be able to help as many people as I possibly can, whatever that looks like to me. And it's going to be different for everybody, okay? And so, we have G105 tomorrow. We're going to talk. Dr. Hess already kind of explained this, but the G105, we meet at 9 o'clock, Dr. Hess? Yep. 9 o'clock. So we meet at 9 o'clock, okay? And we're going to talk about things. It's only 2 hours, but we're going to talk about things and cover it from A to Z. 30,000-foot view, how you get people in the door, when they come in the door, what you do, systems, procedures, what that looks like. We're going to answer questions. We're going to do impromptus, okay? And I know tomorrow morning there's not a playoff game, okay? And I also know tomorrow morning that there's really a lot of your classmates need to be here, okay? How many of you would say that there's classmates that need to be here, okay? That need to be able to hear some of this information, okay? So if I could encourage you, bring them here. Tell them to come here tomorrow morning, okay? So that G105, 9 o'clock, okay? It's only going to be a couple hours, but we're going to really go over a lot of this information. To be honest, if there's 10 people, great. If there's 100 people, great. It doesn't matter, but we want people to be here that want it, so that they can receive, all right? And that we're making sure that we make not just a weekend and people are like, yeah, that felt pretty good, but make really hopefully a lasting impact so that we can bring our profession from, to be honest, if we're being real, from here, to here, and then here and here and here and here. Okay, so bring your classmates tomorrow, G105, 9 o'clock. If you guys have questions, things like that, we're going to be hanging around for a bit, so ask us questions. But I'm glad that you're here. G105, 9 a.m. Cool.
Oh boy.
They're going to like let's see, they have like 4 times a year since that year. And that's why they don't hear people on video that Atlanta is a good one.
They're recording
Don't go behind you guys, just like that.
I've been doing this.
Yeah, and like the meeting Wednesdays, we practice. So last Wednesday, we practiced reading, being able yeah, like we like one big yeah. So we it's on
And that's really, I felt like I'm in this stage, like, all I've been meetings and stuff, so like, the past months, like, okay, so how do I know? Like, I have nothing to show for it.